Does not, yes. Yes,
Does that include the south side of town?
it doesn't,
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, it
I
does,
was wondering.
it does include the south side of town. Yeah, it's clunky, I'll talk a little bit about
Okay.
that tonight. Yeah,
Anyway,
Either right up.
takes me a while to figure
Oh.
it out always.
Interesting. Okay.
Is Linda on?
I don't think Linda's on, but she hasn't texted me that she's having trouble, so.
I think she said to me.
Has Linda texted you, Amy? I told her to text Linda.
I had a dumb call today. Wasn't a dumb call, I think.
Jackie wasn't getting on and Aaron wasn't.
They have
getting on.
reasons.
Nothing from Linda.
What they wanted to know.
She hasn't texted me either.
Well, I think everybody who reads,
Pickups we got don't have emblems on the side.
Yeah, this is probably the crew then.
I kind of agree with him.
And I said to them that, I thought they did have, I happened to be going to the post office and I went by, noticed a couple of them, but, anyway, I don't make a big thing out of calling the manager and telling them this is what I got.
Right.
This is the call I got, they wanted to know.
You know, I've been asked that before. You know, I made a bunch of them for the city and they must have ran out of them because that was years ago.
Yeah, well, usually, I guess it identifies the truck to the city, I guess, if they want to see.
So they see what's going on.
Well, I think we're ready to get started. So Hannah has prepared a bunch of information for us tonight, and we were visiting about it today and kind of considering all the different, things that we can do as a city, potentially with, economic development, and, talking about what the DDA has done for us, just a lot of information, so I'm excited for Pam to present, so I will just go ahead and turn the time over to her, and we'll have a great discussion.
Thank you, Sean, and, Sean's gonna hop in here, we did kind of go over the whole presentation you have in front of you. Honorable Mayor and Council, first of all, I have to say is thank you, this is my passion. I am just so passionate about Rollins and the community, and, you know, when somebody says a bad thing, I get all defensive and everything. So when I was working on this, a lot of this I know and I've learned, because of my position in the last 15 years, but there's a lot of new things that I went aha, in the last week, since you guys have asked for this. So I'm trying to put a really comprehensive packet together, and at any time, please stop me. Some of this you guys may know, and then, again, this is just for all of us for the best of Rollins. So I guess, I'm gonna wear because every once in a while I do some consulting, and I'm gonna wear my business council hat, or I'm gonna wear my consulting hat, is when I go into communities and ask them what they wanna be, or what do you want for your city, and it's interesting because we had Josh Durrell here, the CEO of the Wyoming Business Council on Thursday night, and he told us, Sean and I, a story about that when he first took over a year ago, he had a community come into his office, and they're like, we're so excited you're in this position, Josh, and we can't wait till you bring in businesses for us. And he's like, well, what kind of businesses are you looking for? And he said, any and every kind. And he told us, this is what he said to us on Thursday night, his red flag went up and said, uh-oh, they don't have a focus, they don't have priorities, and they're not gonna get anywhere. So, having said that, goes right into, things for you guys to think about. We're gonna just talk a lot about different things. You know, what is the goal? What is the end result? It can be some of these, it can be all of these, but is it for business retention? Is it to get entrepreneurs, which is small businesses, that's the key word now? Is it for beautification, for a successful and thriving community? Is it to recruit new businesses? There's so many times when somebody says, I want a Home Depot, or I want a Starbucks, or whatever, but they don't realize that we have to meet criteria, you know, of 100,000 people. You know, and again, that's so many times that when you say, okay, well, I'm gonna take Kohl's, for example, or somebody else. They might have a 40,000 person population requirement, but because we sit on I-80, you might be able to tweak that. I'm just using that as an example. So I think a lot of times when we do surveys, or we ask people, or getting feedback from our stakeholders, or what the community wants, they ask for things that would never be obtainable. So just, again, asking our goals. The other thing is commitment. The city being committed, your stakeholders, and I think your stakeholders and businesses could be two different things. The county, your partners, and staff and volunteers. There's one thing that I continually tell, whether it's the Main Street community or any reason, one of the reasons DDA is so successful is because of this word commitment. And that is the commitment on this city council and the past city councils, that they were committed, our staff, our volunteers, all this coming together. So you can, and we're gonna talk about plans in a minute, a lot of plans just sit on the shelf. But unless you have that commitment of that stakeholder from your businesses and everybody working together, you can't get anywhere. The other thing is trust and buy-in. You know, it takes a while to build trust with businesses or the community to say, we're really gonna do this. Because maybe you didn't follow, maybe a municipality didn't follow through in the past or whatever. So I think that's super important to think about. Funding. So, you know, there's all different kinds of funding for a successful and thriving community. The municipality itself, state and federal, and so when I say that, included in your packet, the Wyoming Business Council, they are our economic development agency, and this is the actual economic development plan for the state. So the governor has adopted this plan for the state. So this may be, say, the Wyoming Business Council on top, but this is the state's economic development plan. And I'm kind of, like I said, I love doing these kind of things because I'm passionate, but I'm gonna wear another hat for a minute. I don't know, I actually sit on the Wyoming Business Council Board of Directors now. I was appointed by the governor. And so for me to be out here and do this presentation for you guys kind of fulfills one of my roles as a board member of the Wyoming Business Council. So again, we have a Wyoming Business Council Regional Director, Heather Tucker, but, you know, I told Cindy Bloomquist this weekend, I was talking to her about a grant, and said, hey, you know, whatever I can do for the Wyoming, through the Wyoming Business Council, for the county, for the city, that's part of my mission as a board member. There's also WEDA, Wyoming Economic Development Association, that's another state program. There's community funding that we can get, which means like sponsors and donors. There's all kinds of grants. There's brownfield grants. Sean and I talked about a brownfield area. If we would designate a brownfield area, there is a lot of brownfield money out there right now that's not being used, that we could actually take, I'm gonna just use it as West End, and get a brownfield grant and look at remediation. And a lot of people think, when they say brownfields, they think only gas stations. I actually took a brownfield class about 2 months ago. That includes asbestos, lead paint. I mean, there's a lot of things we could get from brownfields. CDBG, Community Development Block Grant funding, stop me at any time if I want too fast. New market tax credits. A lot of people, there's a lot of tax credits. There's historical tax credits, there's new market tax credits, and so there's a lot for funding on that. And then, of course, there's TIF, which is tax increment financing, which means that you would get a base. For some of you that don't know what a TIF is, you would take an area that's gonna do a TIF, you would get a base level of the taxes, and then any increment above that, would then go to that project. I can tell you that we looked at a TIF possibly when I first started in the downtown. We didn't have enough incremental to grow it to make a big difference. Pat Robbins from the Wyoming Business Council at the time helped me do that. So these are just, again, for you guys to know that there's all kinds of different funding to have a successful and thriving community.
Real quick on the brownfield and all that, is that something that it's open to anybody, like owners, property owners and stuff like that, or is it just the community that we would have to get those grants?
So usually a municipality or an organization would have to apply for it. Yeah, great question, Chris.
We got one of those when, between here and St. Clair on the south side of the road, when we got rid of all those trailers. And then there was a lot of crushed glass and, asbestos and whatnot. The county got a Brownsville grant to make that possible. Of course, it looks just as bad, if not worse today, but, we did.
Right. So, and I know, Linda, are you on the phone? Linda had started about a year and a half ago, talking, the city was supposed to have a presentation. Damari, do you remember that? We were supposed to have a presentation from Matt Ashby. He was gonna come in from Ayers and Associates and talk really in depth about brownfield. But again, that's just some funding options, to have a successful and thriving community. Then we can talk about plans. And I it's kind of funny, it's not funny, but I actually went on our website today and printed off all of our plans that we've had in the city. The master plan was last approved in January of 2014. The economic development plan was October of 2012. Economic development strategies were done in 2002. A community development assessment, not a plan, was done in 2007. We have the Great Divide, economic development strategies. That's a plan that's between Sweetwater County and Carbon County. That last was approved in 2012. We've had an aging in place, plan, and we have a lot. So we have some kind of current, but then times change a lot. So I just wanted to give you an idea that we've had plans, and I can tell you, I was actually reading our economic development plan last week that we approved, that the council approved in 2012, and we've done some of those things. It was kind of cool to read it and say, hey, we've done that, hey, we've done that. The same thing when I was going through the community development assessment of 2007, and I have that right here, I actually grabbed that, and I highlighted all the things that, the major themes in 2006. And the circles are some things that we've actually, as a city, accomplished. So there are some things that we've done with these plans, but there's a lot that are just sitting on the shelf. And the question goes back to, was it because of funding? Was it because of commitment? Was it because of trust and buy-in? So we can get lots of different plans. But I did want you guys to know and have the whole scoop that we have some pretty, well, I would say the master plan and the economic development plan are the two most current. So, I do have all this down here if you guys ever want it. Again, this is something that I, as a economic development, developer, I'm always looking at. And then this is honestly, if you're writing any business council grants going forward, if you're not checking a large majority of these boxes on these plans, you're not gonna get funded. Recently, I can tell you in the last funding round, not in December, but when we had in our October, no, must have been August, board meeting, we had $2.8 million worth of grants that were in front of us to approve, and we only approved about $195,000 because they didn't check the boxes. So, I think it's really important that we are following what the lead agency is. Again, I just put some topics for you guys, on economic development, economic developers, and economic development strategies, just for you guys to have a base. And then on page 2, I think this is really important, both prior, and I can tell you guys, this book is pretty good for me. I use it all the time. This is the IEDC, this is the International Economic Development, intro, and I obviously have pages I love in here. And this page was this page on page 2 was all out of this book, the IEDC book, about how to establish new economic initiatives and or other things to think about before strategies, plans, or an organization is put into place. So I don't know if there's any key questions on these, but again, I wanted you guys to have this as basic economic development 101 out of the manual, as we call it.
Pam, can I, if I'm going out of line, let me know so I change
No.
it. But in 2017, I attended the WAM conference in Sheridan, and because I've been to a lot of them, I decided not to go to a lot of the meetings, but I stuck with the economic development portion of it. And I met with the mayor, and I think there was some county commissioners. They all gave their presentation, but they went on to talk about how they got started with that gun factory.
Mm-hmm.
They said they had to locate some property. Well, they have made it all land. Then they got that property ready, shovel ready, they got it ready to go, and then they were looking for companies. And it just happened that this gun factory wanted to go to Cheyenne, and they got an invitation to, I don't know how that worked, but they went down there and they took it away. And they got it down to Sheridan. And once they accomplished that and they got it going, they said, okay, we did this one, let's try another one. So they went, from there, they went to I think they did, catalytic converters, and they bought the old Walmart, and they revamped it and got it the way they wanted it. They invited this company, they liked it, they took it, and they built, a little company, that builds catalytic converters. Well, that was just the second one, then the third one was, we got on a bus and we, I think it's Dayton, went to Dayton, and they had an old barn that they bought, some property, and they revamped the barn. And, they put in, buku, I shouldn't say, sewing machines,
Mm-hmm.
automated, and they brought all these women in. And you walk in there, they're making covers for airplanes. So I got a chance to talk to the person that runs it, and she said, most of our business isn't here. It's through the computer, and we sell it outside and bring the revenue in. But the work's done here.
Right.
And so, it was just kind of a plan what they took us through. The other thing that I thought was interesting was that, the fact that they were able to find the property first, and that's where they would start with, finding some place where we could develop it and get it ready, shovel ready for whatever type of business we wanted to bring in. Is that in line with this stuff?
Yeah. You know what? You couldn't have segued me better into the next thing I was gonna say. I mean, seriously, and I did not pay him to say that. So it's
Does the
interesting.
city already own property that was
No, they purchased.
available like that, though?
They purchased.
They got it as a gift.
Rollins, though,
No,
has property,
Rollins
right?
has property, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go back for 1 second and click on into that. So this is interesting because Josh Durrell on Thursday night also brought this up. So Sheridan used to do all their business in oil and gas. And 15 years ago, this is an example Josh used the other night. 15 years ago, the powers that be, the city council and a group of stakeholders and businesses got together and read the writing on the wall. And they said, we are not gonna wait for the state, we're not gonna wait for the feds, we are gonna create an economy that's gonna support itself. And 15 years later, their decision was manufacturing. And you just went through my list that they got, so they have Weatherby up there now, you can go through the list. But 15 years ago, they made a decision with a vision to become known as a place where people come and their focus is manufacturing. So when they go, like you said, Deborah, they pick out pieces in all different parts of Sheridan. It's not in one central location, and said, we are gonna be known, and one of the best damn places in Wyoming to be known as for manufacturing. So that's what they did. It took them 15 years.
They also had what they told us at that meeting was, some of the questions that were being asked, I took some notes, but, some of the questions were, where are we gonna get the people to run this?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? When Weatherby came down there, they brought their people from California too. Then the next problem came up was, oh my gosh, we don't have the housing for them. Well, that came behind it, because once the housing people seen that there was a need for more housing, they started building houses on their own, and then they sell them to these people.
Yeah.
So, what happened years ago when we were talking about this, those were some of the questions that were being asked. Oh, they'll never come to Rollins because we don't have the people. And after listening to them, I said, well, God, they brought their own people.
I agree. 100%. One of the top things on this list is, if you have a shared vision and you're defining the area, then if everybody works together, whether it's stakeholders, the city, the county, everybody working together for the same mission, yes, exactly, Tori, coming together, we can create something great. Sheridan, again, 15 years ago had boom and bust, and they were tired of boom and bust. They sat down and said, what do we want to do? And that's what they did. And now look at all the companies they're recruiting, and they're bringing employees. and developers are coming in and doing I mean, I was up there not too long ago, and again, it's just expanding, so, and,
And you know, Ben, the other thing was that I look at is that, I didn't see them developing in the community. They were on the outskirts, they found properties. We own property along the interstate, along that service road, on the interstate, where you could see where they had access to get off and on the interstate if they had to bring in equipment or bring in supplies or whatever. To me, that property on Jackson is the ideal spot to look at for that type of business of some kind.
right.
Factory
Cas-
business.
Casper with their, shopping mall out there by Menards and all of that, for a couple of years, it was just empty ground, but it was shovel ready.
Yeah.
I believe businesses will go where it's the easiest place for them to go. And to come here where we don't really have an industrial park ready to go, and some of those things, it's a huge hindrance.
I mean, look at Casper and look at Old Yellowstone. I mean, that's not an industrial, that's an opposite, but they got together, the Old Yellowstone district. I mean, that is a thriving with restaurants and the David Street Station, and I mean, that was a difference. So they had two focuses. They had one out by the mall as a focus, and then they had the Old Yellowstone. But it was people coming together with that vision. And so, you know, that leads me right into the different types of economic development organizations. And this, in a way, Daryl will feed into what you really wanted to talk about. But it was just too broad, to say, let's just talk about one thing, because we really need to decide what we want to be. What do we want Rollins to be, or what do we want to be known for? I know Green River is known for being the best tree city in the state, and they focus on their parks, and, I mean, whatever it may be, but so then it leads into what kind of economic development organization, would be the best fit for Rollins. Okay, so what I did here was, I just talked about an economic development department, in the city. So I kind of am going down in this list, so you guys can know. So, what an economic development department does. It is a little different than community development. Community development, for you guys, community development is more infrastructure focused. What I always say is, it's the picture where they lay all the groundwork on the picture, and then before the details, or it's the cake. And then the icing is the economic development. You have to have one to have the other. You can't have icing, you can't have community development with economic development. So I just really wanted you guys to see, and there are multiple economic development departments in municipalities across the state. The next thing, our DDA Main Street. There are 4 DDA Main Streets in the state. There's one in Laramie, one in Cheyenne, ours, and Sheridan. I can tell you, and I'm not just saying this again is from all this list on the front, ours is one of the most successful. It's because of you guys, it's because of the stakeholders. So, I mean, there is that organization, but just because it's there, I can tell you Cheyenne DDA has had a rough 15 years. As long as I've been, they were rough 15 years. Now, Amber, she's the new director, is like on fire there. And it's amazing how their downtown, their stakeholders, their city and their county are acting differently in Cheyenne. So it really is that coming together, that communication. The next thing is Urban Renewal Agency, which got this whole thing started, or I kind of spearheaded this is exactly what an Urban Renewal Agency does. Again, it's very similar to a DDA. You have to designate the area, the designated area, slum and blighted. It's a requirement to become an Urban Renewal Agency or a DDA. When we became a DDA 30 years ago, those property owners said, yes, we're okay with that, and we were designated as a slum and blighted to become that. So, I just want you guys to have all of the examples. You have to have a development plan, just like the DDA does. You have to have an approved renewal plan, and then, even when you do an urban renewal, that's that designated area. You cannot urban renewal a whole city. Okay, so you could do the west end, or you could do the north end, or you could do the south. But again, there's always, just like a DDA, There's statutes to follow, there's certain things you have to do, there's requirements, and you can have more than one URA, Urban Renewal Agency, but then again, what's the focus, where do you wanna go? So there's always things under urban renewal. I can tell you there are 3 urban renewal agencies in the state. Green River has had a rough time with their urban renewal agency. Evanston has been super successful with their urban renewal agency, but it's been primarily, they did it just on the outside of downtown a little bit, but their urban renewal agency primarily focuses on historic preservation. That's what they chose to do. So again, that is having a plan, having an approved plan or a project, a development plan, and going forward. The last one is Rock Springs. So I had a conversation with Chad Banks. He is the director of the Urban Renewal Agency Main Street over there. That's how they set their program up. And I said, Chad, talk to me, because I'm gonna go in front of city council, talk to me. Now, I knew some of the things he was gonna say, but I wanted to hear, because when they designated their urban renewal agency, it was pretty ugly. I think I told you this. The front page said, slum and blighted, no way. And I mean, there were property owners that were not happy with that designation. Now, again, it's a designation for funding, but some of the property owners, so again, just being very upfront with you guys, we have, again, whatever plan that the council decides to go forward on, or whatever organization, or how you guys want to do, remember, there's always pluses and minuses. But one thing Chad did tell me about the Urban Renewal Agency over in Rock Springs is, he said it's too big. He says we can't ever seem to decide, they made it too, this was his opinion, but he's been the director for almost 10 years now, and they've won a GAMSA over there, they won a Great American Main Street Award, but he said it was from the downtown focus and not the urban renewal. But he did say that there's not enough funding. He said, I don't have enough funding, and I don't have enough staff. And so he goes, we created this Urban Renewal Agency, and we can't facilitate it like I'd like, we can't, so again, this is just pros and cons. I wanted you guys to know, again, there's 3 in the state right now.
One thing, Pam, that caught my eye is, we have a developer, and he's come before this council, I won't mention his name, you guys probably know, but that wanted to develop some property, by the KOA campground.
Come to me too.
To me, the way I looked at that was not the project that he had, but more the fact that he is a developer, and of course, he's thinking of business, he's thinking of making money, and so that's why he's involved in it, and I respect that, but I think he's telling us, by building along that service road, along the interstate where it's visually from the
Right.
interstate, you can see whatever we're doing,
Right,
is the way to go, and we have some property down below that.
right.
Uh,
Again,
I think, again, you're right, we gotta pick a plan and then
right,
work with that particular plan.
Right.
But, I just wanted to throw that out, cause that's what I seen when, we were approached on this council about doing something about that property, changing some zoning and
Right.
things.
Again, that's another thing. Let's say-
He's thinking of that.
well, and that's a good point, Devari, is if the council so chose to do an urban renewal URA, and they picked different areas, and then all of a sudden we have a developer, I'm not saying, again, just all the pros and cons, the pluses and the minuses, maybe that's not the URA area that we had chosen and have to go through. So, I don't know, maybe, again, I want the best, this is my passion, but having potentially the best for the community. So that goes right in, go ahead, Chris.
So, real quick, I guess, you mentioned it's kind of set up like the DDA, you have a certain area, right? What's the width, length of that area, is it blockage, or can you just say, we're gonna do, this whole area and zone it out up there?
You can.
Wherever you.
I forgot to bring, I was gonna bring, I will send you guys, Chad from Rock Springs, sent me their downtown map, their historic district, and their URA, and it doesn't cover the whole city. So you can choose which area, commercial area, for urban renewal agency.
Okay. Also, can that be piggybacked within the DDA stuff also, like, you
So
have you have to have 2 different things that I understand, but
Well,
can you?
so that's interesting, the research I've been doing is, I can't find that we can expand, but I can't find that we can't. So I need more time just to let you know on that. I couldn't find anything, I've made a lot of phone calls in the last week and a half, I still don't have an answer for you. I was hoping to have an answer on that. It's never been done in the state of Wyoming. Yeah, it's never been done in the state of Wyoming. I'm not saying, you know, when Councilman Wells brought this to me almost 15 years ago, he wanted to do that. I did reach out to Jim, I haven't heard back from him, maybe he knows how it was done. But just to let you know, Chris, and council, that I don't know, I'm just being honest with you, I don't know if it can be done for sure or not, or we would have to do a different organization.
Isn't one of the things about when you declare an area of blight and, a blight area or whatever, it does affect property values and borrowing capabilities, is that still a thing?
Some people say no, and some people say yes.
What do the bankers say? 'Cause that's the only one that matters.
Well, I can find out. I mean, this is why we're sitting here. We wanna know if this is, there's other options on this page. That's why this is.
Well, it's just a ripple effect
Yeah,
that
so.
I've heard about, and
Right.
I've heard it for years, and I just wondered if it,
So I can tell you that, if you talk to anybody that's, like, Michigan is known for the URAs, Wisconsin is known for the URAs, and I've done a lot of training in those states, and learned a lot about DDAs and URAs, and they will say, well, it's just a designation for federal money. And I'm gonna be very honest with you guys, I don't know that for sure. I've heard both sides. So I think that is something that this council would definitely want to take into account.
because if you go to borrow money on a shiny new car, that's one thing, but if you go to borrow money on one that's blight.
Right, yeah, again, I can do more research on that for you guys, I will definitely take that down, because we definitely, before anything is done, again, that's why I have all this information for you guys, that's picking the right decision and the best decision for our community.
So on that aspect of things, though, DDA falls under the same exact thing, right? So you've worked for DDA for so many years now, right? So what was your experience then? Did it drop the property values for DDA, or being known as that, or did it drop it and then raise up when stuff started happening?
So Chris, it was done 30 years ago, so I've only been, so I don't, when things weren't done, I can tell you since I've been the director, the executive director, we've seen increases with the projects and the things we've done. Now, I can't answer that 100% because 30 years ago, when they did that, I was gonna say, Dr. Thomas was on the,
Johnson.
what?
I'm Johnson.
No, I know, but I was thinking you were on that board too, but it was Dr. Thomas. Sorry, Greg. But yeah, we could do some research, but I guess I would rather go to actually get information on a URA and how it's doing. But to answer your question, I don't know, because it was 30 years ago.
I think research would be great to know also too, just because what it has done for the downtown.
Right.
That could be a possibility if you went to the URA, and if we did a URA, it could be a possibility to know the history of the DDA and what it's
Right.
increased to what the start of the URA would be and what it would be increasing also.
So,
It's hard going over 30 years though, because
so many
really,
different
there's
property
no
owners.
apples and apples about it, it's.
Yeah, I think it would almost be more advantageous to find out what URAs are currently doing to property values, in my opinion. But again, it's up to what you guys. I
If I
can't,
remember correctly, I think back when, Dr. Thomas was on the council and we talked about this, they did talk about designating a certain area of town as blight and, whatever we call it.
Yeah.
But did they put together any documentation or any information that you could dig up in the city here that they worked on it? And then they dropped it, for some reason, they just kind of disappeared.
so I did find some stuff. I need to go to the basement here, because there's a whole bunch of files. I didn't get a chance to do that yet. But I can tell you that, and Amy was involved with this, on the old pen. When Tina did her last grant, she did a CDBG, Community Development Block Grant, which is what those acronyms, and you have to be designated slum and blighted. So you can actually slum and blight a site. So we do have, the old pen is considered slum and blighted, so they can apply for Fed funds.
That's right.
So, but Jabari, that's another thing I can look into.
'cause I know they did some, quite a bit of work on it, and then, you know, every time you change council, you change philosophy, and after a while, you lose track of what we should be doing. And of course, we didn't.
Pam,
Board either, you know, we didn't.
Pam, are you able to hear me?
We can hear you, Linda, because, go ahead, because you were involved.
May I, could I jump in? Because
Yeah.
30 years ago, I was on the staff and I did the CDBG grant that got the $100,000 that started the downtown, money. But in order to do that, I had to go and we, within the district, and made judgments on each building, and we ranked it as to, blighted, near blight, or not blighted. And luckily, most of the downtown folks who were involved in this, the board had already gone around and talked to everybody. And, and there is extensive grant files down in the basement that will show you what we did. But we basically had to declare that whole entire area a blighted area in order to get the money from the CDBG grant, because that was one of the criterias. So, yes. Now, as what we need to do today to progress this to 30 years up, I'm not sure anymore. But I want you to know that some people didn't really like it, but because we could offer 3% money, loans, and working within, and as you know, we had 156 businesses at that time in the downtown area that were vacant. So it was easy to prove that we needed some money to go in and do facades and help people upgrade their establishment. So that's what I would offer to you.
Thank you, Linda. The other thing I want to add to that is, and that's very true, is going forward and finding what the slum of life. Something I did find, and Linda may be aware of this, is when I was going through old documents for the DDA, we used to get a monthly sales tax report on how much the downtown was just doing in sales tax revenue, sales and use tax. I reached out about a year and a half ago, and working with the state, we can now only get that report once at the end of the year. So I have already started the process to get the report from 2020, so we can start a benchmark on that. Because all of a sudden I found this, I've been asking for years, I mean, I've been in this position for years and I love numbers. And all of a sudden I found these old reports that were like monthly, and I'm like, where the heck did these come from? And I just was going through an old box when I was looking, and so I am working forward just for the, and this is getting off subject, but for the DA to find out how much sales tax revenue is coming into downtown. So, but going forward, I can look on URAs, and if it affects property values, if it affects, loans, all that stuff. Any other questions on URA? Because there's other things, so this is, again, I want you guys to have, the next thing I have on my sheet, which would be a business improvement district, which is a bid, referred to, and there's other names too, but this is where you go in and you actually, all the, like, let's say we did the, West End, and they all decided to do a business improvement district, and so they formed a district, and that you would, to fund projects in that specific district. And there's a pretty extensive, explanation on a bid. You actually get the money, for the bid from the municipality, so it actually, instead of, let's say, that end would decide to do a project, those monies, if you do a bid, instead of it going to the municipality, it would go, and those projects would be done at that end. For curb and gutter, you have to have a project. So another opportunity for economic development or for a successful and thriving community is a bid. And some people call it a SID, and some people call it a special service area or a community improvement district. And this is a fund service that's perceived by some businesses inadequately, but then some people feel like Okay, so I can tell you that the DDA a couple years ago looked at putting a bid inside our DDA, because we wanted, whether it was heated sidewalks or maintenance or whatever. So we went to Gwen at the county and said, okay, run our numbers on what we're getting, from property values, and if we did a bid in downtown, and I had someone on one of our committees who was a building owner and a successful business in the downtown, and said, Tim, I just want to tell you that I wouldn't support a bid. And I said, okay, can you tell me why? And he said, because I choose to give DDA and share and support you guys, but it's my choice. But if I had a bid, then I have to, and you're telling me what to do. So I will, in the end, probably end up giving you more money just in support than if I was required to do it. I thought that was interesting. But then when Gwen ran the numbers about how much we would get on a bid, it was way less than, it was like $25,000. And I think, oh my gosh, at a Passion and Pride Ball, for, you know, in a good year, we get around 30, 35 for supporting a project. So the board of directors did not decide to move forward to bring this to council, because they felt like, holy smokes, we're getting more than that now with support, because they believe in this, the buy-in and the trust. But that is another opportunity, maybe in another part of the city. Maybe we would want to do a business improvement district. Maybe we would want to do a community improvement district. The thing is, then you have to have someone that manages that manages those funds, and there's more work to that. So again, anything that you do in a special district, you know, I mean, there's things I have to do as a DEA. There's special, you know, statutes I'm following, and Amy and I sat today in front of something, and we're reading something about doing something, and, you know, I have to follow statute, a little different. So again, there's a pretty big description on bids, because that could be brand new to you guys, so that's that. I also put, this was on the list as types of economic development organizations, incubators. I did put the Rainbow Teton Entrepreneur Center on there, because that houses for everybody to help small businesses, and there are resources coming out of that building. The next thing I want to talk to you about is Opportunity Zone, which we have. You guys have a map in your, one of the things, and some of this came off the Business Council site, about that every state has some opportunity zones. Not everywhere in the state of Wyoming is an opportunity zone. And this is your map that is pretty much the east side of 3rd Street, 287, a little bit, kind of brings down. It does go over to part of South Side, and then it goes for the airport. And again, it talks about what a opportunity zone is. The opportunity zone offers tax benefits to businesses or individual investors who can elect to temporarily defer payment on capital gains. If you go, and then you put that into a qualified opportunity fund. There are quite a few opportunity zone funds in the state. There's a group out of Laramie that is doing it that I've met with before, just to get the basis of opportunity zones. But
Who designated the zone?
so Amy, I'm gonna have you jump in here with me a little bit if you can. So the opportunity zone, when these came out from the feds, they came down to the governor's office. And I was not really, I'm just gonna be honest, I was not completely involved in the opportunity zone when that happened, a couple years ago. But it came down to the governor's office, and then the governor's office came to each municipality and asked them if this was a good area. So Amy, were you involved at all in that when they chose? I wasn't either.
No, and I don't believe that there was any formal, process where the council,
I don't think it was ever brought up.
And again,
How long ago was it done?
about
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Wow.
I can remember a little discussion, you know, and one of the things that I brought up in the discussion of it was the fact that, our land that we have along the interstate, it's joins the BLM land. The BLM land was leased out to, it was leased out first, they were gonna build some kind of entrepreneur center up there, and then they dropped it. Then the county picked it up, the museum picked it up to build a museum.
Yeah, that is,
or something.
that is an
And
opportunity.
then we turned it down,
Yeah.
because I was on the board, we turned that lease down.
Right.
but I'm sure it's still available to the municipalities if we went to the BLM to expand that property.
Kelly had something to
Kelly,
say too.
can you, could
Pam?
that was, Linda?
Pam,
Would Kelly-
could I,
Yep.
should I go ahead? Okay. On the opportunity zone, there was a business that could have come to Rollins. And it was through, the business council via the governor. And we voted to start an opportunity zone. And it's down around the airport area because it was one of the very few areas that qualified for, well, I'm going to just say low and moderate income, and therefore would enhance the area. So that's still sitting on the table somewhere, and I thought we had voted to do it. I don't know where the paperwork is.
So Kelly, what do you have?
So, I am disappointed a little bit in my memory because I did a story on it and I wish I could recall better than this, but, it was, I know that, Scott Hannum worked closely with Cindy Wallace with economic development back then, and so it did come down to the governor's office, and I remember them presenting it to the county commissioners. I don't ever remember it coming before this body, but it did go before the county commissioners, and I'm recalling something like what you said, Pam, that it was essentially, this was maybe one of the only.
Well, I think there's 10 in the state.
No, but this would have been like, there weren't any other choices for
Yeah.
our area.
Right.
So I can find out, I can do, if you guys so choose, I can find, like, how
It's
long.
not really that important, I just,
Okay.
somebody drew this map, it met certain specifications, if it's still in effect.
It
We
is-
do need to educate us on what that means.
Yes, and it is still in effect, I can tell you that, and this is the actual, that the state has. If you go onto the Wyoming Business Council and you go onto Opportunity Zones, Fed site, this is the actual site that we have.
And is that where we can find information about what conditions were met to make it an opportunity zone?
I didn't get that far.
I mean, is that well, that's probably the site we can find that on, I would imagine, or call Jim Drevers or something.
Or call who?
Jim or something, Jim Drevers, or,
Jim Drever. I'm sure, I don't know, I can actually talk to Heather Tupper more about that, from the Business Council, because they have a big, on the site, they have this map, but it actually came down from the feds, because it's a federal program. So I can get
Right.
more information from Heather. Does that sound good?
yeah, I just would like to know
Yeah.
more about it.
Absolutely, that's what we're here for. Linda?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, and then the last thing I wanted to give you some information on, again, not that I'm advocating any of these, or all of these, or some of these, but again, is something that's been happening across the state that has been, I can tell you, super successful on one, and the other one is brand new, is local economic development organizations, through taxation. And so the city of Lander voted in, February of 2020, a half cent to go directly to economic development. The city did. And then Goshen County has been around a lot longer, and they have a quarter cent for economic development. And I actually gave you an overview of how their program works. And so this is more about funding, but it's also about what their vision and their values. It's really interesting because, I'm gonna go back to this old document that I found of 2017, which is the community assessment, and I found, on page 9, that one of the recommendations to the city council was take advantage of new sales and use tax economic development and make a permanent quarter cent earmarked for economic development. So that was recommended to the council back in 2007 on this assessment. So it's kind of, I guess it's not that new, but Goshen County, has been doing it, and they've been pretty successful on their program, and that's a county. Now, I have my new project coordinator just came from Goshen County, so she actually is very familiar with this program, but she was telling me all of Goshen County is 13,000. So even though it's Goshen County, it really focuses on, well, I'm not gonna take words out of her mouth. Their county is 13,000, and Rollins is 9,000. So they did it as a county because they weren't gonna just do it as a city, because there wasn't that much left in the county, that was their choice. City of Lander, though, just did an economic development as a half cent in February to pay for economic development.
So how do these towns, like the Economic Development Corporation was created for one reason only, and that is the open meetings laws and the sunshine laws and whatnot. I mean, that's why it's a corporation and handled that way. It's an insulator between, so private industry can come talk to, people in the area to find out things, make plans and such like that without laying their proprietary information, on the table and lowering their, competitiveness. And that's why there's an Economic Development Corporation. It's basically so they can talk to them without being on the front page.
Right.
Okay, so if we, as a city, would happen to decide to do this half cent, quarter cent, whatever, taxation for economic development reasons, and then we would give that to our economic development person, how can that work? I mean, wouldn't companies be very reluctant to come talk to somebody who has to report that conversation if asked? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So I guess I can give calls, I can't answer that, Terry, because I know that as a DDA, we have some certain privileges that the municipality doesn't have. But I can find out for you through Goshen County, and I can find out through the city of, to me, the city of Lander would be a little more appropriate because it's a city to city.
Yeah.
But I can definitely find out, because that is a question for me.
Well, Goshen County, I know when they started that, I was a commissioner, and Jim Huddleston and some of those guys Jim's passed away, but they started that, and they were very successful with it, but it's also a completely different community. You know, there's like 3 counties in the state that are always getting special treatment because of they're impoverished, you know, basically.
Right.
And, so a lot of, it may correlate, it may not, but
Right.
I know it's successful for them.
Yeah, it is, yeah, for them, exactly.
Yeah.
And again, that goes back to, what's the right fit for Rollins? What's the right fit for this community? What are the stakeholders, what does the community want? I wanna make sure that on this list, and I didn't put definitions, of Carbon County Economic Development, it's an EDO, it's on here, and the chamber, because I think you guys know about that. I apologize if I should have probably put those 2 on this, because those are types of economic development organizations, but I figured you guys were more familiar, but I can get information if you want. But it goes back again, Terry and council, to this first page, and what everybody wants, and what the focus. And so I also have a couple, which I have lots of reading for you guys. So this is another whole packet. Oops, I don't have my mask on, sorry.
And Mayor, just for a point of clarification, resolution number 11C/2018 was presented to, the Sterling City Council on the 20th day of November 2018, adopting that area, but it does not indicate who made the decision for designating it. That would be something we can research.
I just was curious what conditions had to have been met, because the map I'm looking at is 99% industrial.
Yeah.
And some residential and a mix. So it just seems odd that mix would all meet one specification, I guess.
Amy, when was that again, so I can put on my date?
November 20th, 2018, and what was presented to the council was the map. There was no discussion about, working with the council to identify that area or determine how to identify the area.
And it probably went through the county also, correct?
Yes, what, Callie had that date as well. Yes, and it was, it's right here.
Well, I just know there's a lot of things out there that we can spend a lot of time on and get nothing out of too. You know, it's kind of like that one economic development, the Great Divide thing. I was on that for 10 years, and, I think both letters I read, in that 10-year time accomplished zero,
Right.
you know? So we can say, you know, it's a great epitaph, I was a part of that, but it had zero effect on the whole world.
So, if I may, just have a couple little comments, I'm listening to everyone. One of the things that I'm really looking forward to when we do this strategic planning together in just a couple weeks here, is once we determine, you know, what do we wanna be, how do we wanna get there? It's all these different options here. I think this is perfect timing that Tam's brought this up, because then we can kind of have this in the back of our minds of, okay, we wanna be this, and this is the best option to get there. So I think this is really good. And then another comment, when you're talking about like the Great Divide Plan, I wasn't, you know, obviously haven't been a part of that, but one thing that I am looking forward to is with board docs, once we develop the main strategic goals that we have, we'll be able to see, and I'll have to do a demonstration on this sometime, but you'll be able to see those goals every single time you come to council meeting. And then anytime we're making progress towards those goals, you'll get that, like anytime it comes up on the agenda, it'll be this reminder of, oh, we're accomplishing this goal towards our main goals. We're staying in the right direction, consistently staying in that right direction. So that will be, I think that'll be a really good thing. Another thing, just, again, listening to the comments, I recently had, a private, developer come to me, and they said they're interested in developing in Rollins. And I would love to, maybe this is not the moment, but I would really like to have a discussion with the council on what parameters I have, because like you're saying, sometimes those developers they don't want tons of people involved because of the proprietary information.
Right.
But I would like to know what parameters you're comfortable with me kind of working with them, you know what I mean? So I wonder if we couldn't have a discussion about that maybe some other time.
Well, and you know, when you first mentioned that, retreat, I'll be honest with you, I didn't want to do it. I didn't see that there was gonna be a lot of, good out of it, and now that I see all these things coming at us and whatnot, I just wanna thank you for doing that, because in order to accomplish anything, like, I don't know how these guys feel about everything, a few things I do, but, that way we'll all be going in the same direction, and anyway, thank you for planning that.
No, you're welcome.
I didn't wanna go, I'm going.
And I would say too, that this idea of doing this has come from just listening to other city managers and, you know, seeing those that are successfully planning and making progress towards things. They do this every year, and, you know, we may develop a certain plan, but maybe we feel differently the next year and we tweak and adjust, but it always keeps, like, it's front and center every time we meet. Oh, yeah, we're still going, here we go.
Instead of the shotgun effect or hunting with a rifle.
Yeah.
Well, you
And
know,
Pam, I'm sorry.
One of the things that, at least that I think of is that, you working with the developers doesn't bother me at all, providing that this council is given the information as we go along. The development of the Tin Can Hill area, I mean, half the council was going different directions. Some thought it was gonna be a park, sometimes it's gonna be a retention pond. Who's doing the job, who's the developer? We didn't have any clue at all, because only 2 people were meeting on this issue. That information was never brought to us other than, this is what we're gonna do. And when you start doing that, then you lose the council. But as far as, you working with the developers, to me, I think that's part of your job, but it's also part of your job to inform us as to step by step how things are going along.
So maybe that's where it's more
That's my
proprietary.
opinion.
Thank you for that, Devar. And so maybe
The
if
initial
I have
comments.
more updates, I bring it up in executive session to,
Sure.
hey, this is kind of what's occurring. that
And
kind of-
or just general information.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that, you know, somebody walks up and says, hey, I hear you're getting a big housing development, and I say, I don't know anything about that, then it makes me look like a stupid. And, that Tin Can Hill thing was a perfect example. No one knew anything about it. The only thing I knew about it, was the gossip chain in Rollins, and it's very, very effective and alive and well. And, some of it was correct and some of it wasn't. And so you can't ask the community to cooperate with something. And if you're not willing to tell me what's going on, then I'm automatically extremely suspicious.
Yeah.
And that's my nature, and it has served me well. You know, I mean, it's just an example of out of control. It isn't, we don't have to know every single thing, but if the city's gonna be involved, I think we should be informed about, maybe not every little thing, but at least enough to either be comfortable with it or not comfortable with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if I know nothing about it, I'm terribly uncomfortable with it. Just, that Tin Can Hill thing just still chaps me, but whatever.
Yeah, so maybe I can take, you know,
And I
take
think
that.
that's a great opportunity for the public to hear as well, that municipal government, municipal property is open to everyone, and developers, it's not first come, first served, behind the scenes discussion. It should be, yes, we will treat your project with a sense of proprietary nature and, you know, to a certain degree. However, it is ultimately taxpayers' property, and we have to be open to all developers and open to all
Yeah.
offers. And it can't just be a decision made, you know, outside the public's view.
We had, at the county, it had several times when people would come and approach and want to buy certain pieces of property. And the procedure we followed was, in order to, we had to decide, do we wanna sell it or not? And would it best serve the county to get rid of it and put it back on tax rolls or not, and all those considerations. The next thing was, we had to go get an appraisal, and then basically put it out to bid. And we had to get appraisal price or better, and we had to put it out to bid, even though one person really wanted it for a specific reason, we had to put it out to bid. And honestly, I think we did that 3 times and went through all that trouble and expense, and then the person didn't buy it. But nonetheless, you have to, if that's what you wanna do, is sell that property to develop on, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
But it was all out in the open. I mean, we advertised all of that, and we didn't necessarily say this guy wants to buy it to build a whatever. It was, this guy wants to buy it.
Right. So, well, the last things I just, Sean, am I good?
Oh, go ahead.
The last things I just handed you at the end, it's just more reading, more things I found when I was working on putting this presentation and information together, and I had some more things to do, as you guys gave me tonight. But, the first one is from the planning tank, that's from Planners. It's a 5-minute read on the urban renewal, so I thought that was super good. Another program that's out there, again, because we don't, you know, maybe urban renewal agency isn't the right choice for the city. There's a program out there very similar, what I would say, like to Main Street, but it's called Smart Growth. What is Smart Growth? You have an information about that. And then the last one I thought was really kind of interesting was National League of Cities, 4 ways to fund economic development in your city. So I gave you guys those. And then the last thing is this little book. It actually is kind of taken out of this book, but you guys don't really, this is pretty dry reading. But this is called the Economic Development Reference Guide, and this talks about every and any kind of economic development, venture capital, export trade, smart growth, public-private partnerships, incentives. I can send a link. This is about 70 pages. I didn't print this for you guys, but I will, or you can go to it. This is just a great guide for basic economic development. And I looked through it a lot. I actually have it in a...
Can you email that information, or just the address
The
to
link,
get it, or
I
what?
can just send the link, on this.
Thank you.
I will get it out to, yeah, this is another good one, and it just takes different steps. So,
Pam, if you'll send those to me, I'll put them on the board docs also for the public and.
all these 3 additional, these
Yeah.
4 additional.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. So again, plan, you guys, like kind of what we've talked about, and everybody stepped in, is to really think about, and I wanted you guys to have so many options, and to really know, going back to what is the goal, what is the end result of this, what is our commitment, or stakeholders' commitment, the trust and buy-in, funding, and we have lots of plans. And so, do we wanna start, any time you start an initiative or something like that, there's gotta be a plan to back it. And what is the vision of this community? So, anything else? I hope this answered, I hope, Daryl, this was good.
Yeah.
I think it was way more than you ever expected.
Yeah, it was, I think it's pretty good start, so. And Pam, thank you. We just were talking, and we just wanted to look at all the options, and, there'll be questions.
That's,
So,
I mean, like I said, I love this is my passion, and, and I think, again, just to make Rollins a better community to live. I mean, I just get so sometimes it's kind of crazy. My husband calls me, I'm like, we go someplace and I can see a sign, or I see a grant. Well, okay, this is a prime example. Sunday, I'm texting Cindy Bloomquist, Rose Kane, Damian Sesko, because I found out about this grant late Thursday night, and I couldn't not wait to get this information out to other people in our community about venues and closed movie theaters, and it's federal CARES money. So I immediately was sending out texts, here's the link, go watch this, because I am really passionate about it.
thank you, Pam.
Thanks, Pam.
Linda,
Yes,
how are you feeling about this call-in technology?
this is very good. I've got to give a DVDA report and stuff, but I can talk, and I'm fine with it, Myra. Very good, thank you.
Linda,
Yeah.
this is Pam. I will, send you a text right now of the top 5 punch list. I forgot to do that, I realized, for the report, since you weren't at the
Okay.
board.
Oh, I made a list from our conversation, Pam, and I'm just gonna go over, what did we call that program? Love the Downtown, or Love in Downtown, or
Love Downtown Online.
Love Downtown Online?
Yeah, it starts February 6th through the 14th.
Sure. Oh, okay, I've got it mixed up, I guess. I'll leave that out.
Well, it's a virtual event. It's February 6th through February 14th, and it's called Love Downtown Online.
Love Downtown Online, okay. I'll tell people to go to Facebook for that, right?
Yes, or they can go to the businesses, because it's a combo. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Okay, I've got notes, and I think I'll just skim through it, and we'll be all right.
Okay, if you have any questions, I'm staying for the council meeting, so you can, if you need me, just let me know.
Okay, thank you.
And Linda, so this phone call is how we're going live on Facebook, so I'm gonna mute us. So that's gonna mute us to you also, until like,
Okay.
so just so you know, we're gonna go mute.
Okay, great, and I'll go do some obligations, and I'll be right back.
Okay, do you want me to mute you too?
work together.
So Aaron, can you hear me?
Yes, I
Aaron?
can hear you just fine.
Okay. So I'm standing really close to the phone because we're not actually in a meeting, right? There's lots of background noise. But Linda did it the same way, and was fine. So, yeah, you're in. Good work.
Okay, cool.
And we might mute you till the actual meeting begins, because this call is how it's going out over Facebook, but, that's like 2 minutes, so we'll see.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Thanks, Aaron.
Okay, thanks.
Text Amy or I if there's problems.
Of course, I will. Thank you.
That's why I think.
Linda?
Yes.
Okay, just checking. Aaron? Aaron? Can you hear us, Aaron? I can't hear you, Aaron. I think you got muted on purpose, but maybe I can't unmute you.
Are we ready?
Councilman Durst appears to be muted, and I'm not sure how to get him unmuted.
Just tell him to punch *6 and he'll be unmuted.
Aaron, punch *6, please. Unless you're muted on purpose. Both council people have called it. Me.
Okay. So shall we go ahead?
I think so.
Okay. All right, I will call this meeting to order. First thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, will you do a roll call?
Councilmember Gardner?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Present.
Mayor Wyckoff?
Present?
Councilmember Weisenberg?
Here.
Councilmember Durst? Councilmember Durst, I know you just texted that you're good, but can you actually talk out loud, please, just to make sure? Maybe push *6, Councilmember Durst. Oh, he raised his hand. Oh, fancy, raised hand. What does it mean? More.
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Here.
yep, there he is.
Perfect. Thank you for your patience.
Hey, I'm here.
Councilmember Martinez,
Here.
Councilmember Wells.
I would note that Councilman Wells is, had a death in the family, and she will, I would like to send my condolences to her and her family for her grandfather passing away. So she won't be here tonight. All right, the first thing on the agenda, next thing on the agenda is a public hearing. It's an ordinance, second reading, amending Rollins Municipal Code Title 19-38, which is a historic overlay district. And I would ask you, Danielle Gross, is she here to present? Or do we do that later?
Usually it's later.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Someone.
I'm sorry, Danielle.
No worries,
you're
good.
We will have is there anybody that would like to speak on that since it's a public hearing? Seeing none, we will go to the next item, which is a corrective resolution to, accurately reflect the amount expended for, payout of sick and vacation time. Is there anybody that would like to speak on that? Hearing and seeing none, we will go to the next item on the agenda, which is a resolution, to allow a salary and job description study. Is there anybody that would like to speak to that? Seeing and hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. The next thing on the agenda is citizens' participation. Is there anybody that would like to speak about anything that is not on the agenda? You'll be given 5 minutes, and, if you have anything to say, we'd love to hear you. I guess there's no, citizens' participation.
Hey, just
Councilman Weisenberg?
a really, really quick note, I guess, I wanna say thanks to, the city of Rollins, their hard work and dedication over the last weekend, right? They had a lot of water breaks, sounds like they were out till the wee hours of the morning, you know, so, bear with the city and the times that this is happening in. It's all I can ask for the community to do. But in all honesty, thank you very much. It was a lot to handle within that short amount of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, that's super appreciated. I think the total, I think they had 8 water breaks, if I heard correctly, which is just, yeah,
Crazy, huh?
that's very difficult.
Is there any other, public, citizens participation that anybody would like to say? The next thing on the agenda is the Max Dutton Award, and, I'll turn it over to Sean Metcalf, our city manager.
Well, this is fun. I have a few different things that, I'd like to do here. So the Max Dutton Award, I guess, was, an employee that worked here quite a long time ago. He passed in, '86, and this award was named after him. And some of the different things that he was known for was being honest, and being efficient, being responsive to citizens, being accountable to the community, and maximizing his potential and others around him, and making a difference for the entire community. And so we received, several, nominations for this award this year, and it was incredibly difficult to choose from all the awesome nominations. So I'd like to invite, Julie Hahn to come up, as she's my selection for this award this year. All right. Here, so this is for you, Julie. And we also have something else coming for you, a plaque that will be coming in the mail in a little while. So, but I just wanted to read this, because I think this was really special. So, I would, and this comes from Melissa as her nomination. So, I would like to nominate Julie Hahn, Victim Assistance Coordinator for the Max Dutton Award. Mrs. Hahn is a fabulous supervisor and is always open to hearing new suggestions to better our program. She is the first to help her department strategize and incorporate new and updated ways to help our victims of crime and to make the day-to-day duties flow easier. She's always there to help her employees with projects. She stepped in and helped me get the Purple Night Lights together and ready for this past October for Domestic Violence Month. She does all this by staying upbeat, cheerful, and positive even when we may be struggling. Mrs. Hahn works hard on our program grants. She makes sure to voice employees' feedback. She looks at her team's strengths and helps make sure that the funding is delegated into the right funding streams to make sure her employees can make our program the best it can possibly be. She's very diligent with making sure that the Division of Victim Services and our City Council is up to date with our monthly services and shows passion to why our program is so important and deeply needed in our community. Mrs. Hahn is very educated in victim services because of this. She is very responsive to the needs of our clients. She takes their feedback and starts to strategize how we can make it work within our program. She does this by opening up a group discussion in our department and including all victim advocates in coming up with the best possible solution. As stated above, Ms. Hahn is great at maximizing one's potential. That is not just one's potential, but her entire team's potential. She uses that potential to build a strong team of not just paid victim advocates, but also her volunteer victim advocates. By maximizing her team's potential, she has built up the Victim Assistance Program here at the RPD for the past 20+ years. She is great at placing credit where credit is due and never takes credit for someone else's work. She is clear that team does not have an I in it, but a we. Mrs. Hahn has made a tremendous difference in the Rollins community, not just by offering her victim service expertise, but by being there for her victims in the worst time of need on their darkest day. She is the one who shows her victims, her supervisors, that there is light at the end of the tunnel. She helps bring hope back into their lives and helps them realize how resilient they truly are. Thank you for taking the time to read my nomination. So I just would second, that's just some incredible things, the amount of years and how much of a difference you've made in the lives of so many people. So it is just my pleasure to give you that award today. That's cool. I wish we had our plaque today, but that'll be good enough. And we're all smiling behind that.
Yeah. I'm gonna do one more.
Congratulations. All right. So the next one is our Supervisor of the Year. And the person I've selected for this is David Manley. We could give him a round of applause and welcome. me, that was most deserving this year. So, and this nomination came from his supervisor, Danielle Gross. So I would like to respectfully submit Dave Manley as the nominee for Supervisor of the Year. Dave is a foreman currently in the Streets Division and has been for a short period of time. Dave has a lot of room for growth, and I look forward to continuing to watch that growth. One of the main reasons I feel Dave is a good candidate for this award is that he took this position after the division had a lot of turmoil, and he turned it from something negative into a place one didn't want to be, let alone work to a cohesive team environment. This last summer, they did over 700 tons of asphalt patching, which is more than double their production the last 2 summers. They have been more productive and responsive in sign repairs, street sweeping, and other items as well. Dave has helped to build employee trust, and he has helped make the employees feel valued, and that has carried over into the workload. You can see now the pride they take in their jobs and the work that they do. I'm very proud of Dave for leading the team when it would have been easy to just throw in the towel. Thank you for your consideration in selecting Dave Manley for Supervisor of the Year. So, I just gotta say, I love some of the comments in here. You know, he's building a culture of trust within your group and your employees, and you're making it a wonderful, pleasant place for them to come to work, and that is super meaningful to me, and I know it is for the city and our residents who are the beneficiaries of your good work. So congratulations.
Thank you.
In case you're not smiling. Two, sorry, guys. Oh, God.
Okay, a couple more fun things here. We have some longevity awards that we're gonna give out here. So if we could have Andy Rodriguez come up if he's here. So Andy has 40 years with the city, which is we'll have you stay up here just for a second. Julie Hahn is 25 years. Next is Jody Sandoval, 25 years. Here you go. You're welcome. Then Mary Glenn, 20 years.
Thank you.
Next is Rick Cooper at 20 years. Tom Gamblin, Senior, 15 years. Annette Waller, 5 years. She's here.
And she said she could come tonight, but.
Oh, couldn't make it tonight, okay. Mike Sanchez, 5 years. Couldn't make it, okay. Lou Lascana, couldn't make it?
I don't think so.
He's 5 years. And Matt Harnish at 5 years. So just want to say to all of you, thank you for the incredible amount of time you put into the city. I know that public service can sometimes be a challenge, but it's also super rewarding too. So thank you for all of your years of service.
There you go. Okay, Tom.
How do you count that?
There we go. Okay. There you go.
All you have to do is keep your eyes open. Don't have to worry about smiling anymore.
Thank you all so much.
And again, thank you for all your hard work and making Rollins a better place. I was trying to add up the number of years that all of you worked, and I lost track, but it was close to 100. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the city council reports. Board of Adjustments, is, Councilman Durst, do you have a report for us?
I have nothing to report at this time. My first meeting will be, crap, I can't remember if it's this week or next week, to be honest with you. My thing's not pulling up.
Tomorrow? It's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, okay.
All right, thank you, Councilman Durst. And, I'm on the COG, board, and I will give that report. Amy, help me if I leave anything out, but I joined a meeting just a little bit late, and what it was about was, the discussion to, show some options for grant writing, and, we had a presentation, about that, and the information was sent out. I think all of you, did you all get copies of that? Were copies sent, Myra, to?
I don't know, Mr. Mayor. If not, we'll be happy to email those out tomorrow.
If you would, what it was there's a lady that owns a grant writing, company, and, she basically gave a menu of her services and costs and such like that for us to discuss. Kind of went along with earlier tonight, and then, of course, when we have our, goal setting session, some of that information will be brought to you there also. Other than that, I have nothing else.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
in regard to COG, once COG makes a decision to get a grants writer, does that come back to the council, with how they intend to do it?
What was discussed was there was, the scenario that was presented was, nobody wants to do a cooperative thing. Everybody wants to just have availability to this grant writer. So, for instance, if, Rollins wanted to hire her, we would just hire her and pay her for whatever services she provided to get the grant. If the encampment wanted to, they would hire her, but it would just be between her and each entity. So it wasn't a cooperative thing like I suspected it might have been, but it turned out to not be that. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I guess the thing would be, we had discussed, getting our own grants writer down the road. Is that gonna affect what we're trying to do?
It just was a different choice of a way to go. I didn't ask, and I didn't get enough information on this, but, you know, when you get a grant, it comes with a lot of, that's the easy part. And then you have to administer it, and you have to make sure that you're in compliance through the whole way, or you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. There was no talk about that, so that would still fall back on the entity that hired this, grant writer. So,
And I guess the other question was, who chose this grants writer?
there was no choosing about it. I think it was just a matter of somebody knew her, and they invited her to COG to tell the members what she could do. Is that correct, Amy?
It is.
And, I'm just gonna be honest with you, I'm not sure that it would fit with what we're wanting to do or not. I almost don't think it will. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So it's almost like a consulting service? Okay.
Correct, you just hire her to write grants or pay her by the hour, or,
Yeah.
when you get that
Percentage,
menu.
right? Was it a percentage? I believe I seen the email, like a percentage or an amount for like a certain amount for the grant, right?
She indicated it would depend on what type of a grant she was applying for. Federal grants would be more, they would be, cost more than a local grant. But it would identify her time per hour and what services she provided for that research grant writing. Again, as, Mayor Wycombe identified, it did not, her consulting did not go into the grant administration, which would fall back to the local governments to ensure that that's in full compliance.
Which is a big deal. All right. So the Planning and Zoning, Commission, Councilman.
You skipped me,
Report? Did I?
Mayor.
I'm sorry. The next one is the DDA Main Street. Councilman Smith, you have anything to report?
Yes, I would, Mayor, thank you.
Sorry.
I'm excited because this is our 30th year. We'll be celebrating our birthday, I believe, in October, but we have a number of things that we're doing over the year. And I'll just hit some highlights so that I don't get too involved here. But by April, we'll be going out for requests from artists and school, this involves school children, county artists, and what our main goal is to obtain drawings or paintings that we can turn into downtown banners. And what we're asking them to do is to depict what they like best about Rawlins. Then, as we progress from April on through to the Pride and Passion Ball in September, we will have people vote on the various drawings and submissions, basically. And those, I think, first 100 will be made into banners, and the first 6 months will go up on the downtown. As you know, we can put the banners in the downtown light post. And then 6 months from that, we'll change them over to others. So we'll have a big reveal on that on December 10th of next year. So that's kind of an exciting project to have all of our citizens that are artists and that to be able to have an input into what goes in our downtown for art. And I'm excited to tell you that the notice of, not of awards, but the notice of contracts have been made, and July 9th is our scheduled dedication for the splash pad. So that's an awesome project, and we're really excited to see that completed, and it's going to be fun. The Skyline Light Project, we've been working on that for a few years. We've had a lot of kinks, but we're working with a company, I believe, called Acme, and we've been able to work out some of the issues with that. And what will happen is that downtown businesses will be highlighted with lights, and so that project is scheduled for completion in May or early June. So that's been a long time coming, but it's going to put some excitement into downtown. A little bit of light down there, right? Then I wanted to draw your attention to the horse that has been made under the auspices of Chris Harrison, and some other people have helped him, but the DDA Main Street program commissioned him to make the horse that you see on the corner of the Jeffrey Center lawn. And it's made up of all kinds of parts and pieces from around the county. And so it's a really neat piece. And so the next thing that will be coming, we'll have a little colt, will be coming soon, and we'll put that with its mother, and then the dedication for that piece, or those two pieces, is planned for May 18th. And then in February, from February 6th through 13th, Love Downtown Online is going to go on Facebook, and that's going to feature people talking about the downtown and our businesses and basically what we love about downtown. So I want people to tune in February 6th to 13th. And then we're looking forward to Summerfest, and then the Passion and Pride Ball will also be in September. So with that, that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Smith. That's a lot of activity to report, and we appreciate your hard work. With that, the next thing is Rawlins Planning and Zoning Commission. Councilman Weisenberg, you got...
I have nothing to report at this time, just, February 9th at 5:30. I'll be involved in, so regular.
Thank you. Next is the Urban Systems Committee, Councilman Garner.
I don't have anything to report at this time. I spoke with, Steve Perkins to find out the next meeting, and, still pending.
I see.
Just waiting to hear on that.
Okay, well, thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda is approval of the minutes. I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the city council regular meeting minutes of January 5th, 2021 as presented or amended.
Do I hear a second? Councilman,
Second.
seconded? You have to speak, because we'll record you. Okay, so there's been a motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of, the January 5th, 2021 meeting as presented. Is there any discussion? I'm so used to it. Would you open online voting? Old habits are hard to break. Do I not see that, or? No.
Just,
I don't see the place to vote.
Oh, it didn't come up.
yeah.
Didn't come up.
I think, maybe you got logged out or something doing that other.
I can take voice votes. And then maybe when we switch it,
Yes.
Mayor Wyckoff
Yes.
and Councilman Gardner.
Yes.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 68.
My computer's gotta catch up. Thank you. Okay, from the city manager report is next.
Thank you, Mayor. So just a few updates for you. We're gonna be closing the community engagement survey tomorrow morning. We received about 200, or roughly about 200 responses. And I've had a chance I haven't reviewed all of them, but there's a lot of really good feedback. I was impressed that just with the amount of excellent ideas that were in there and really excellent feedback. So I think as soon as we have that compiled, I will send that out to all of you so that you have it. So we have the city tour that will be this Friday, January 22nd. I send an invitation out to everyone, so hopefully you all have that. Just briefly, at 8 o'clock, we'll start at City Hall and kind of do our rounds here so that you can meet finance, the court, HR, or attorney, and just give them a couple minutes to kind of tell you what. Then at 9 o'clock, we'll go to the police station, so you can meet those employees, and then probably right around, I'm thinking 9:45-ish, we'll head on over to the animal shelter. At 10:30, we'll be at the recreation center, and at 1 o'clock, we'll do the fire station, and we'll travel to the second fire station as well. 2:30 will be public works. We'll actually travel to the recycling center after we start at public works, and then we'll travel over to the landfill and then water treatment plant. So wanted to make a good full day for you. And you're also, if you can only make it at a certain time, feel free to just show up at that time at a certain place, and we'll try and stay right on target there. So just want it to be as convenient as possible for everyone. And then the staff, we visited this morning, and they're gonna try and have a variety of staff that can, so that you can meet other employees here and they can talk and tell you about what they do. So hopefully it's a really good thing for you. And then we have the council strategic planning retreat, just as a last little update here, on the 29th and 30th. It will be at the Hampton Inn, and probably everyone knows where that is, but I'll send out all the details of that. So just wanted you to know that I do have the location and just working out the final little logistics, but I'll send something out pretty soon. And that's all I have.
Alrighty, thank you, that's gonna be very helpful, all these extra things you're having us do, classes and whatnot, is very much appreciated, I want you to know, it's helping us grow a little bit.
Thank you.
Alrighty, the next thing is the department reports. Chief Palmer?
Honorable Mayor, Council, I just kind of did a quick, overview for, 2020. That's the numbers I'm gonna give you right now. We had 5,925 911 calls in 2020. That's an average of 16.25 911 calls per day. We had 14,985 regular phone calls. That's 41 per day, for a total of 57.29 calls per day on average. We had 7,758 calls for service, 21 quarter calls per day. We had 4,160 other types of bar checks, property watches, business checks, stationary radar, paper service. Also, because this is dispatch numbers, we dispatched 310 fire-related calls. These don't include ambulances. And then ambulance calls, we had 649 reported for the year. Our animal control had 858 calls for service, which is an average of a little over 2 calls per day. Also, I don't know if you guys recall, we took over code enforcement, so I only have 2 months worth of figures for them on our side, and we took about, the first 2 months, he had about 5 weeks of training before he really got on his own. He had 32 cases that he opened. During that time, he really concentrated on parking violations, garbage issues, littering, and then for this month coming up, his focus has been on making sure all the commercial business trash containers have that locking mechanism on them. And so far, he's been reporting to me is everybody's in compliance on both Dirty Boys and Wyoming Waste. Now he's going to the locations that aren't using them correctly and educating on them that they have to shut the lid for it's not to blow. So if that's not on the two haulers, that's not their responsibility. That's what he's working on right now. That's all I have to report, unless you have any questions for me.
I just have one.
Mm-hmm.
In Rollins, I think we have to bag our trash, and I noticed that a lot of the trash problem comes from people not bagging the trash, so I hope that he'll, help educate on that issue also.
Just in December, he worked on 8 littering cases, which is bagging, and 2 specifically garbage cases from them not putting trash in the barrels, and this residence too. So, he's slowly working on that. It's hard when it's snowing and blowing and it's windy out, but that's what his concentration is trying to get the beautification of the city up with, making sure people are collecting and putting their garbage away responsibly.
That's very much appreciated, and could you, email us or make available to us those figures you just read off, all those
You bet.
statistics? I think they would be handy at times to have.
And I'm gonna have another report later on it's gonna have a pie chart and everything with how many calls for service in each kind of category. I just wanted you to give a brief overall, but I would be more than happy to send you these figures that I have right now.
It would help, I think.
All right,
Chief Palmer,
Thank you.
if you email those to me, I'll also put them on the, board docs for the public.
perfect. All right.
I think it's good information to know.
All right.
Thank you. Any other department head wanna give a report?
Bring my trainee, but I'm not. All right. Honorable Mayor and Council, I also have some numbers we pulled from 2020. I'm just gonna throw them to you here. Training hours for the fire department in the last year, 2,439. A lot of hours for our guys. Also, fire safety inspections, that's when we're actually out in businesses looking at those, 299 of them. 890 calls for service, These numbers pretty much reflect what Chief Palmer had as well. 63% of our calls are medical in nature. Is the majority of what we're doing as far as service calls, those kind of things. We have had, according to the records I was able to pull, 5 scene calls with an ambulance. That means there's been 5 different times throughout 2020 when basically the hospital was out ambulances and we were up next. We've also done 4 transfers for the hospital in that same time frame. Along with that, I've already done 2 transfers, been involved with 2 transfers this year, for the hospital. We've been able to step up and help them fill a role, that they needed this year. This last week with the weather, the way it was, those kind of things, they couldn't get flight crews in. They were looking for help. So fill those kind of things too. Foremost, Chief Blaine Schumacher is here. Today was his first day at work. It's pretty exciting. We worked him hard today. We'll see what we can get out of him tomorrow. We spent a lot of time on it. And we're happy to have him here and
Thank you. Honorable Mayor, members of the council. So I'm very, very proud to, be selected as your next fire chief. I bring 32 years of experience. One of the things that I looked at when I wanted to, take over a fire department was the size, the location, and this fit perfect. I like, our department will be involved in the community. That's the way I like to do business. I believe that, you get what you pay for, and the community pays for us to be out there, so we will do that. Vision-wise, first off, I gotta get to know all the people, both sides, both paid and volunteer. What I'd love to do is put this department on the map where people in the state of Wyoming look and say, the level of service that Rawlins Fire Department gives is the symbol of excellence. That's what I would like to do. And I think with the people that we have, I think that's very attainable. And I'm looking very much, very forward to serving you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions before you sit?
No. Welcome to Rollins.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
I would like to visit with you sometime after, down at your office or something.
Absolutely. I'd love to have you. I'd love to have you all.
Appreciate that.
Fire station's always open. So, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there any other department, reports?
Good evening. I would like to let you know that the budget will be starting the first week in February. Wanted to get through January with the retreat and all of that, and so we'll start into that process in early February. Wanted to also let you know and everybody know that we're gonna be closed on Friday between 4 and 5 once a week, so that I can have time to have a staff meeting with my staff, which so far is almost impossible to do with all the phone calls and working with the public and everything. So that will allow us to have a time to communicate and to take care of issues and everything. Working on trying to get the audit completed. Bev and I are working with the auditors to try to get that wrapped up. And so that hopefully will be coming soon, and I have asked them to please have it done by September-ish, for the next one, and a lot earlier. I understand that's traditionally where it should be, and I'm trying to get back to that. I didn't have a chance to print off the financial statements, but I will do that tomorrow and send it to y'all, and then I will also post it with Myra. And then, or email me with any questions, but so far, again, everybody's doing really good. So, that's about all that I have, unless you have questions.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Danielle's turn.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, I'm just gonna go over a couple of quick things, but if you guys have questions, let me know too. I did want to, and I know Chris touched on this already, just really thank the employees. They worked a total of 278 hours this weekend on 8 water breaks. Which, as you all know, was cold and late, and they were tired, so, specifically though, I would really like to thank Jimmy, Todd, Mike, JD, Ben, and Robert with utilities, Stevie with treatment, and then Dave, Chuck, Braxton, and Andy from streets. They all really pulled together and were a team, so that was really good. We do have a Board of Adjustments meeting tomorrow at 5:30 here in the council chambers, with a couple items on the agenda, a couple variances, bylaw amendments. I think that's it. I worked with legal to get the bid out for the City Hall fire panel. That's gonna be upgraded. The one here is really old. That's happening kind of at the same time that we closed out the fire panel installation at the rec center. And I gotta thank those employees too, because they actually had to monitor that while it was all being finalized, so thank you to them. And then we are really starting to amp up for the projects coming up this summer. So we will have the 2019 water project closing out, the 2020 manhole project, the streets rebuild and overlay projects, and then, the springs rehab and different things like that. So we're just really trying to get ready for that, make sure we have everything in order and we're good to go. I think that's all I have, unless you guys have questions.
I don't have any.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Next. Covered them all, thank you. The next thing on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for January 19, 2021 as presented. There are no amendments.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Councilman Garner seconded, I'm sorry, I'm a little slow on the trigger there.
It's all right, you can have it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we open online voting.
Mayor Wickham.
Yes.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 6 yeas.
Am I doing something wrong, or do I just need to refresh?
It's up in the top on the,
Yeah, I see that, but I just. Right there. Thank you, Myra.
Of course, thank you.
You'll have to do that for a while. Oh. The next thing on the agenda is, board appointments, and we will, look at the, Board of Adjustments. We have one applicant, Steve Kovacevich. Can you come up and talk to us a little bit? And let me explain why I'm having the board members come up and interview before we appoint them. It's a double-edged sword thing. It's one thing, I wanna know what their motivation is to be on the board, but also, there's three of us up here that are brand new to this, and so some of these boards we're not really as familiar with as we'd like to be. So it's gonna be our chance to, ask about, you know, what does the board do? What's been going on? What are you gonna do in the future? So we can be better partners. So, for the people listening, if you wanna apply for a board, don't be intimidated that we ask you to come and answer certain questions. Part of it's, and so we can be educated on what you're doing. So, with that, I'll start with, you, Steve.
tell us about the Board of Adjustments. You've been on it for a while, you're re-up, and tell us what the board does, why you wanna be on it, and so forth, would you please?
The Board of Adjustments has several different functions. Mainly, in my opinion, is to hear variance requests for different items that a citizen would have, whether they're building a garage, needing a different setback. Just general information to them, the staff gives, but then if they need, they bring it to the board. I stayed on the Board of Adjustments from when I was on city council. I like to be involved. I think it requires some common sense, a lot of reading, and I enjoy doing that. I enjoy serving the community, and it's a highly paid board. As you guys, we make just a little less than you guys. So, if anybody wants to get on these boards, you're not gonna make any money. It doesn't cost you anything to do it, a little time, but I find it very satisfying to know that I'm helping the city. I was born and raised here. I love Rawlins. Any questions?
I appreciate that, thank you. With that, I would entertain, any questions of Steve?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we appoint Steve Kovacevich to the Board of Adjustments.
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to reappoint, Steve Kovacevich to the, Board of Adjustments for a term ending, 1/31/2024. Is there any discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 68.
Congratulations, you got your high-paying job.
Picture? Make sure you smile.
Thank you, Steve, for applying for that board. We have a lot of board openings, so anybody listening, if you wanna get involved with the city and live in a better town, that's how you can, pick a board that you're passionate about and apply for it and help us make a better Rawlins. All right, the next, board is, the Carbon County Visitors Council. There, we have, one applicant for that board, and I would ask Mary Pat Whitfield to come up, please. Thank you for applying for that board, Mary Pat. That's been open since, forever, several years. We have not had representation on that board from the city of Rawlins, and I, really super appreciate you applying for that board, and we need somebody on that board. Can you tell us, why you applied for the board and what talents you might have to better place?
Thank you. I applied for the board. My husband died 6 months ago today, and I'm going to be retiring in 100 days, and I know I need to be involved. I need to stay active. We moved here 43 years ago for 1 year, and we fell in love with Carbon County, and especially Rawlins. I've been involved in the community in a number of activities. I'm past president of the Historical Society, so I'm really familiar with the entire Carbon County, and I really would just like to really promote the county. I've also served on the Old Penn board for a number of years, so I know a little bit what's involved in boards. This is brand new to me. I just got my water bill, and I looked over the boards and thought, I would really like to be involved in this, so that's why I've applied.
That's awesome. Does anybody else have any questions of Mary Pat?
Yes, on this board, there's, the requirements, to be in hospitality or the similar, background of that.
I don't have hospitality per se. I've been an office manager for an insurance company here for 40 years, a little over 40 years. So I've been really involved, In Rotary, I've been involved with a lot of community activities, but not specifically with hotel or hospitality.
And I will tell you that, I did contact the president of that board and talk to a couple of the people on that board about, whether it's an absolute must that this applicant be in the hospitality business, and it is merely a suggestion. It's not a hard and fast rule, and that, I personally feel that with Mary Pat's, knowledge of our town and county, she would make a perfect board member. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, is there any legalities with that?
In this instance, you have a wealth of knowledge with Mary Pat and her, with the community, active in, the Wyoming State Frontier Prison, our central tourism attraction. She's been instrumental and a volunteer in serving on their board. The hospitality component definitely is, something that should be considered, but in this instance, you have, someone with tremendous attributes on the tourism side to offset any potential issue regarding the, hospitality section.
Thank you, I just wanted to make sure, you know, there's not.
You weren't gonna say.
So, I really, it has been a long time, you know, with a lot of, stuff that has background with that position too, and I appreciate you applying. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Smith?
Yes, I would move to appoint Mary Pat Whitfield to the Carbon County Visitors Council for a term ending 6/30/22.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to appoint Mary Pat Whitfield to the Carbon County Visitor Council for a term ending in 6/30/22. Is there any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 6 yeas.
Again, thank you, Mary Pat, and I think you'll be perfect on that board, and, I hope you have a little fun with it.
Thank you, I'm looking forward to it, thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you so much.
I'm gonna take your picture too. Thank you again.
The next board appointment, to consider is the DDA Main Street in-district, position. This is a seat that will be ending in 12/31/2024. We have received one application for this, position. It is Stephanie Kramer. She is not here, is that correct?
Yeah.
She wasn't able to make it. I did talk to her earlier in the week, and, she's, very eager to, hurry up for this and work on this board again. So I think I know she knows what she's getting into. I think she'll be an incredible board member.
Mayor, so just something she didn't want me to let you know, she just texted me, it is a reappointment, she actually took over, she didn't serve for 4 years previously, she actually took a term, that she was halfway through, so she's just she's not done with what she wants to get done on the board, so.
Thank you. Yeah, I talked to her. She's very passionate about wanting on the board, and I know Stephanie, and I think she'll do a wonderful job.
Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Smith?
I move to reappoint Stephanie Kramer to the Rollins Downtown Authority Main Street Board for a term ending 12/31/2024.
Do I hear a second?
Okay.
DeVary? You're gonna have to get quicker there, Darryl. There have been a motion made and seconded to appoint Stephanie Kramer to the Rollins DDA Main Street Board for a term ending 12/31/2024. Is there any discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is now closed, and the motion carries with 6 yeas.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda is, Rollins, DDA, Main Street out of district, board position. We did receive 2 applications. One was from Jody Smith and one was from Raymond Hatcher. Is Raymond here?
He notified us he was gonna be out of town for work tonight, so no.
Okay. I would like to have Jody, are you here, come up and talk to us a little bit? Thank you. Yeah, just tell us a little bit about why, you wanna be on this board and, what you might bring to that board.
Okay. So I also did it for the money. I moved here about 8.5 years ago from Fort Collins. And, when I was in Fort Collins, I was very involved in other things. I was the president-elect for the Northern Colorado Human Resource Association. We did a lot of travel to, a lot of different areas, and, we did a lot of, discussions and talks and had a lot of presentations that we did, for different businesses, for college students and things like that. I also was a victim advocate for the Domestic Abuse Response Team, which is DART. In Fort Collins, I volunteered for public schools. When I first arrived here, I was just trying to get myself just involved in my work. I'm the Human Resources Director for, Sinclair Refinery. I kind of have this little thing in the middle here, so I keep wanting to look at you. And prior to that, I have been Safety Director for companies in, Fort Collins. I started in Myrtle Beach Area Chamber of Commerce, as a Personnel Director. And so, for me, just getting involved here at work, I'm also over community relations for Sinclair Refinery. So for me, now stepping out of there and getting more involved in the community is what I'm interested in. And what they're doing with the downtown area, that to me is something I'm very interested in. I used to do that in Cheyenne when I was not working, but when I volunteered with Chamber, so.
That's awesome. Both sides.
I know,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna do a dance or something, but,
I wanna help you here.
yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? Well, thank you for applying, and we definitely appreciate your application. Chris, do you have a?
Yeah, I mean, no questions for her. I just wanna, I see in the email that, just to give Mr. Hatcher a fair chance to talk and discuss also, said, he'd be available by phone during the meeting. Is there a possibility to just kind of get him on the phone?
Can somebody just call from their cell phone? Maybe Sean? I don't know how to call from that phone because it's on a Zoom, so I don't know how to make a Zoom call. Yeah.
I just, it's just to give, talk to him and discuss with him too.
Would that work? It's not super loud, but we can try. What's the?
I'm gonna go. You have that phone up?
Yeah, I don't have there's no phone number on here?
I guess I would have had it.
Did you just phone number?
Do you have a phone number? Oh, Alan.
Oh, I was not gonna announce it over the.
Oh.
Good idea.
But thank you. Okay, so actually, Mr. Mayor, I'm gonna just let you take over Sean's phone. Because you're the mayor. Oh, is it on speaker? Oh, speaker.
Probably thinks it's spam.
He doesn't work tonight.
You have reached 30.
All right. Is there any further discussion? I would, I need to ask, I would entertain a motion. Jeez, I'm so scrambled brain here.
Mr. Mayor, in all fairness to the gentleman that applied also, I'd like to hear from him, I would make a motion that we postpone this till our next meeting if we could. I think that's the right way to do it. I don't know the gentleman, I appreciate the lady that, Jody for talking, I appreciate that. I think in all fairness, we ought to let the other gentleman talk.
Is there a second to that? There's been a motion made and seconded to, postpone the appointment until the next meeting, is that correct?
Sounds good.
Is there any discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I would support that.
Anybody else have anything to say about that?
I also support that.
Okay, I guess we'll open online voting. And again, I realize this is kind of a new way of doing things, but I think it's the fair way to do it, is have people, so we can learn what, you know, what we're doing.
Your vote?
I don't know who's.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 60 days.
Alrighty, thank you, and thank you, Jody, for coming in, and we'll, you won't necessarily have to come to the next meeting if you don't want, but if you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the Rollins, Rochelle Golf Course Advisory Board. This, there is one application, and there are 2 positions open for this. Is Timothy Hoffman isn't here, I know he isn't here because I talked to him, and, he, just couldn't make it tonight. He's very interested in continuing on his reappointment for the golf course. He hasn't been on there really very long, but, I think he must have filled somebody else's term, is what I think. But he did express to me that he enjoyed it and he wanted to, continue on, so, with that, I would entertain a motion. Yeah, go ahead, Councilman Martinez, I'm sorry.
That's all right. I would make a motion that we appoint Timothy Hoffman to the Rollins Rochelle Golf Course Advisory Board, term ending, I believe, the 12/31 of 23, or expiring the 12/31 of 22.
It would be a term ending 12/31 of 23.
23, okay, take that one.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilman Garner,
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just to let everybody know, Tim Hoffman is an avid golfer at our course also, right? And his family goes out there quite a bit too, so he does see a lot of, the course and the benefit of him being on that course, in my opinion, is, very, very good for our community, and he could, also, just give a lot of updates to and helpful prospects for later future of the golf course.
And I too think he would be an excellent choice, because I think he's, an accountant, and he sees the problems that the city's facing with the golf course, and maybe he could be of some help.
Any further comment? Will you open online voting, please?
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 60 days.
Alrighty, thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda is, election of the vice mayor. Last time, at the last meeting, I take full blame for this. I was a mayor for a minute and a half, and, things, weren't done exactly the way they probably should be, because somebody said, I think it was, Councilman Durr said, I moved to nominate instead of I simply nominate. There was a lot of, chatter on, some of the social media about it. So in order to make sure that we do this right, and I have no problem admitting it, that I could have done it better. So at this time, I would entertain, nominations for the position of vice mayor. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, for the purpose of discussion, I would make a motion that we,
You would just nominate.
that we nominate, but we had 2 nominations last time, so I'm kinda confused.
That's how we got in trouble last time.
We're opening the floor to all nominations, we are not making multiple motions. So at this time, the mayor is opening the floor for all nominations for vice, mayor.
So I would make a motion to nominate.
No, you would just nominate, no motion to just nominate.
Oh, okay. I would nominate, Councilmember Wells and Councilmember, Smith, for a 2-year term of vice mayor. Is that what you're looking for?
Is there a second?
I would second that.
There's been a nomination made, for, the position of vice mayor, Jacqueline Wells and Councilman Smith, for that. So at this time, I guess we will have to vote.
Are there any other nominations?
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, I would close the nominations and ask for, a vote. And I think we should do it by ballot.
Mayor, I'm not able to have a ballot.
Councilwoman Smith, you can text me. This is Myra, if you want.
Okay.
Same thing for you.
I don't know if I can.
Oh.
Myra, did you get mine?
Yes, Councilmember Durst. Thank you.
Myra, I know it's secret ballot, but I'm just gonna vote for myself. By voice.
Thank you, Councilmember Smith. Mixed voting is now closed, and Councilmember Jackie Wells is the vice mayor.
Alrighty, thank you. All right, next thing on our agenda is, the second reading of the, amending Rollins Municipal Code, Title 19-38, or .38 Historic Overlay District, and, I will, and I'll turn the floor over to Danielle Gross.
Do you need a motion first, or am I?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, I just wanna make sure
Yeah.
I'm doing it how you guys want, so.
I would entertain a motion. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we pass on second reading, amending Rollins Municipal Code Title 19.38 Historic Overlay District.
And would you include and waive the reading of the ordinance?
And waive the reading of the ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Gardner seconds it. Discussion, and I will turn the floor over to you, Danielle.
Honorable Mayor and City Council, so this item is coming back to you after first reading with no changes. I did want to talk about a couple things, though. I went ahead today and added a link onto the agenda item, and I apologize for not getting it sooner. I should have thought about that, with our zoning map, and then that does as well show that historic overlay and where it's at in the municipality. Also, one of the things I added as additional information today, is an alternative. I thought of it this weekend, so I again apologize that it wasn't added sooner, but, I did wanna just point it out, I guess, cause really it is council's pleasure how you guys want this to look. And I think it would still achieve the goal of aligning those codes so that they matched up. So instead, we could proceed as we are now. The other option would be to increase in the residential mobile home district, front and rear setbacks from 10 to 15. And like I said, that would still achieve the same goal of aligning those two different codes to make them match up. But if we proceed as what's being recommended and what's gone through the board at this time, it would be to reduce the historic overlay front setback and rear setback from 15 to 10. It would just be in that overlay district. There's a portion on south side that's the residential mobile home. There's also a section of residential mobile home on the north side over off of Utah Street, and then a majority of the historic overlay is in the numbered streets up here. I think it's from 7th to, and it's kind of, if you go to that map, it's a little bit weird, but it's the cross hash that you would see there. But that is a mostly 7.5 zone. But if you guys have questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them, and, I think that kind of covers everything.
Councilman Martinez?
I don't have a question, I just wanna tell you that I think this is a very good, suggestion, the way you presented it. I think that it's something that's really needed, particularly in, Ward 1. We have, well, all over town for that matter, but Ward 1 has a tendency to have one lot, or, one lot and a portion of another, making it hard to put a building on. So the setbacks are gonna help these people to be able to do something with their property. I can see that, and I think it's something that's been needed for a long time.
I agree. Now, you talked about an alternative, and so now you got me confused. What is the cleanest, easiest way to do this so it's not open to interpretation and so that anybody reading it can understand it?
Yeah.
I think this is, what I read, I agree with. I think it's a good move also, but you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I guess I really should have thought about the alternative from the get-go, and I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I just didn't. I don't know why, because this change did initiate with staff, because what we had found is we were working with the property owner, and we just found that the code in two different sections, whether in the historic overlay and then their corresponding zones, that they weren't aligning. So that, our goal was to, how do we get these to align? So that's when we presented the reducing it from the 15 in the historic overlay to the 10. But I guess I wanted to put it out there, because as an option, I think either way would be okay. If we proceed with the recommendation that we're making to you with the reducing the historic overlay setbacks from 15 to 10, we would proceed as such. If you guys, feel that it would be a better fit to go the other way, it would take some more time, because I would take it back to the board, it would come back to you with 3 readings, because it's a completely new, different change. But I just wanted to be upfront with you guys, that really, I think at the end of the day, it's, you know, what does the whole community want that to look like? Are we all as a community good with the 10 feet, or would we rather see that 15 feet? So that's why I brought it up, just to tell you guys that either way, you'd accomplish staff's goal, which was aligning those codes and making them match. So I think it's just, what do we want our community to look like?
So this is this would be a more lenient situation than the alternative?
Yes, it would be.
Okay, so I'm comfortable with that. Did you have a question, Councilman Weisenberg?
Yeah, I just, I'm trying to make sure I totally understand this, is, right now it's at 15 feet,
Correct.
and then you wanna go to 10 feet, and the normal code says 10 feet for that's outside of the historical district, right?
For residential mobile homes, it's 10 feet. Now, and that's where it gets, this part, the historic overlay, it hits different zones. So what we were saying is that and it was, I think, right before I started, the mobile home district was changed to be the 10 feet and reduced, but then when that happened, we never really looked at the historic overlay. So if you're in a residential mobile home district and the historic overlay, that overlay actually increases your setback requirements. And the whole goal of that was to work with people who have typically smaller lot sizes because they're in an older area of town. So it would align with that, but it would not align with, like the residential 7.5 has higher setbacks than a residential mobile home zone.
So so if you were to reverse that, is what you're saying, the other option would be to reverse that, to make it a 15-foot setback
In
in
residential
mobile home, to align it with the historical district.
Right.
Which don't align with exactly what Councilmember Martinez is saying of, reducing, allowing them to build or put a mobile home on those lots that have extra space.
This is gonna allow them to have more, property to work with also. Does that sound correct?
So, just something from looking at it, first impression tonight, the alternative would modify the residential mobile home, but it would not affect the historic overlay. So if that property is still in a mobile home and an historic overlay, they're still gonna have to contend with that
Correct.
with that amount. So fixing the residential mobile home is not going to affect the historic overlay. You're still gonna have those situations where, the historical overlay is gonna be controlling and require more setbacks.
So it won't change those people that have, a 25-foot lot, is that what you're saying?
Correct, yeah. I think and she's absolutely right. Again, because I just wanna be upfront with you guys, that it's an option. It would still be staff's recommendation that we move forward as presented. I just, again, wanna be upfront and fair with you guys and say, hey, we could potentially do this too. I think the 10-foot aligns with what the city's looking for. I think it helps people to still develop those lots and still maintain a safe distance and separation. But again, it defers back to council.
Won't have anything to do with, a person owning a private lot? Is that what you're saying? It wouldn't change that? In other words, I own a 25-foot lot, that wouldn't change the setback on it?
If you proceed as we are proposing now, they have 10-foot now unless they're in historic overlay, then they have a 15-foot. So their setbacks aren't necessarily changing unless they're in that overlay.
Councilman Weisenberg?
So ultimately, I mean, I see what's happening, and I understand, it's, the mobile home district is allowed to have a lesser setback than the historical district, which is a narrower lot, so I mean, I understand it's a better option in the case of owning a 25-foot lot, that you reduce the setbacks for the historical district overlay. So that it allows them to do exactly what you were saying.
That's what I read it.
Any further discussion? Any more questions for Danielle?
Now, I'd like to thank staff for, providing that alternative and bringing it before the council so you can make a full and informed decision. So thank you very much, Danielle.
Yeah, absolutely, thank you.
I hope I didn't muddy the waters. I was trying to be helpful, so sorry if I did.
You're giving us too much
No,
credit.
I do wanna say thank you too for the overlay, the visual, it does help a lot, and it's, to be able to put it on there, it shows a lot more to me to be able to see it too, so thank you for that, I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Any further discussion? I will call for the question.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 6 yeas.
Okay, thank you. The next thing on the agenda is approval of the payroll. I would entertain a motion. Councilman Martinez?
To approve the December 20th, 2020 through January 2nd, 2021 payroll register for $276,577.73.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Councilman Garner seconds it. Is there any discussion? Councilman Weisenberg?
Yeah, I wanna say thank you, to, Sean Metcalf and the finance department also, for changing that, to say final on there instead of, termination on there. To me, I believe it looks, better. So I appreciate that a lot.
Any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 6 yeas.
Thank you. The next thing on the agenda is approval of the accounts payable.
Mr. Mayor?
Oh, Councilman Durst?
Oh, go, I was just gonna make the motion. Go ahead. Whoever was first, go ahead.
You are, go.
I move to approve accounts payable register for the period of December 24, 2020 to January 14, 2021 in the amount of $671,384.79.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilman Martinez seconds it. Discussion?
Yes, I have just a couple questions, I mean, sorry, bear with me, I'm new at this, so I'm gonna have a lot of questions with this stuff. There's a few, expenditures on here, I'm just everything says, responsible department, and, there's just a few I see on here, and I'm just kinda confused that they don't have any responsible department for. The first one, it's a 2019 water project, I know it was, discussed in there for the amount of $19,538.75. Who's the responsible party for that?
So that is actually a engineering cost, so it's being paid to Engineering Associates. That is from our water fund, so our utilities specifically division, and that's part of our 2019 water project. It did start in 2019. It's a really large project. It's actually $2.4 million, and it's 7 total water lines in different areas of the town. So we actually are in a winter shutdown right now in engineering. That was the cost to not close out the project. We will start up again in May, but to do some as-built close out for our winter shutdown. And that is a project, we were able to actually get $1 million in mineral royalty grant funding for that, and then the rest of it is coming out of that enterprise water fund. But that's what that payment for is, engineering.
Okay, thank you.
So, and if you want a list of those too, the actual projects, I can send you guys that, if that would maybe help you guys. I'd be more than happy to do that.
Okay, appreciate it. Then, so the next one is, 2 Masonry Rhino 551527 MHS, portable hand sinks for amount of $1,986.16. There's also no, responsible party on there also.
Yeah,
For the
I
partner.
think that one is our CARES funding, because we got 2 portable things with our CARES funding.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's from the CARES funding?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's another one on there, it just says a reimburse for DDR 000005853, number 13, for $13,800. Is that a reimbursement to us, or is that a payout on that? You know?
And that's for what?
It says, reimbursed for DDR, is that them, we are reimbursed on that, is that amount reimbursed, or we, cause there's nothing else on that.
Who's the payee?
Old Penn Joint Powers Board,
That I think is.
$13,800.
I did not, review that requisition. What I would think it relates to is the CDBG grant that the city of Rollins had to sponsor. And so it would be a, reimbursable grant where they provided us with an invoice and we are paying, for those services under that grant.
Okay.
But we need to verify that.
That might be the quarterly payment?
No, that would, no, this would be I'm, without reviewing the documents, I feel comfortable providing the council that I believe the information is related to the CDBG grant and the reimbursement for that grant.
I think that's correct as well, yeah.
Okay, sorry, I just, I mean, when I see that kind of expenditure on there and nothing, I,
No, absolutely, that was a great question.
so,
Need some more description on there would be helpful,
yes,
right?
yeah, I'd appreciate it, thank you.
Jody?
And if you have any questions like that, if you email, then I can have the answers and a copy of the invoice for you. I can certainly do that.
All right, I appreciate it.
Any further discussion? Would you please open online voting?
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 6 yeas.
The next thing on the agenda is the, corrective resolution to accurately reflect the amount expended for payroll and sick and vacation time. I would entertain a motion. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the corrected resolution adjusting sick and vacation estimated amount in the resolution number 12B 2020 to actual dollars of $125,454.44, returning $33,435.63 in unassigned general fund balance.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Councilman Garner seconds it. Is there any discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to ask a question. Each year, we've had an audit, and we've carried over liability, up to, I believe, $1 million in these types of funds. In other words, it's sick time and, vacation time and that kind of thing. And I think this goes a long way to, release some of that and to correct that audit or to make the audit better. And if I'm wrong, please correct me.
That's right, it does reduce our liability.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's
So-
absolutely correct.
So explain that to me.
So, every year, part of the audit and part of the financials is how much, benefits do we have? And so that includes the vacation and the sick time, that will be paid out at some future date that is unknown. So we take a value of that, and that is higher than what it should be, that we're comfortable with, and, what the auditor feels comfortable with. And so the employees have been allowed to carry those over, and not cut off where they should have been. And so this is a one-time payout that allowed us to bring them down to the minimum plus 2 days. That gave them a little bit of breathing room rather than taking them right down to the minimum. They would have been continuously at that maximum. At any rate, we brought them down plus 2 days, gave them a little wiggle room in their accrual. But throughout this, when we first did it, we had to estimate what those dollars would be because we took it as of October 16th and estimated what it would be towards the end of the year. That was done by the prior finance director, and he had set a date of, December 19th, and so we just maintained that. And that was when the end of the year occurred and we could have actual numbers. This is very rare that we would have to do it estimated and not know the numbers. That's why we have to do the corrective.
Okay, but I think the question is this $1 million reserve, so is Councilman Smith saying that's too much and we need to reduce it or take the money out of that?
No, there is.
No, what I'm saying, Mayor, is that this is a step in reducing that liability that's sitting there, and therefore it will look better on the audit.
That's correct.
I see, I understand now. Thank you for the clarification. Any further discussion?
If I may, I'd like to add to it, especially for those who are listening, is I want to make very clear that people did take additional time off. They put forth a strong effort to reduce their time that they had accumulated. So we had estimated it at 158. The actual came in at 125,000. So they have reduced it by 33,000, which is significant. And I had said during the initial one, the 12D 2020 we would return that to the reserves, the fund balances unassigned. And that is exactly what this is doing. We are returning that $33,435.63 back into unassigned fund balance. And that unassigned means that that is available for the council to do what they want to with that. And so that will take place.
Okay.
So it's just a leftover of the 158,000 ultimately?
Yes, we're not holding it for anything else, we are returning it.
And then this is, set now where it is in payroll where they cannot accrue
Yes.
over
The
the allotted amount through the employee handbook, right?
That is correct. The accounting system will not accrue. It only accrues to a maximum and it's no more.
All right. Any further discussion? Please open online voting.
Online voting is now closed and the motion carries with 68.
What is going on here? Okay. Okay, the next thing on the agenda is a resolution, to, authorize a salary and job description study. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, for the purpose of discussion, I would move to approve the budget amendment authorizing City Manager Sean Metcalf to conduct a salary and job description study not to exceed $28,000.
Do I hear a second?
1 second.
Councilman Weisenberg seconds it. Discussion? Councilman Martinez?
Sean, I thought that we had done this before sometime.
Yeah, I can speak to that a little, I can speak to that a little bit.
What's that now?
I can speak to that a little bit.
Go ahead, cause I thought we did this once.
Yeah, when I first got here, the interim city manager told me that he had done a study, but it was only for certain departments. Like, I know he worked on the police department. I think he looked at another department. I know the police department did their own salary study too, but it was just for their department. The really important thing here is, as I'm looking at the different salary scales, it's very important that I have confidence that they're where they should be. And as I look at some of them, I honestly can't make sense of some of the reasons why one scale is above another for a certain position. I need to have that confidence, so that I can tell employees, yes, you're at this scale, and there are 20 reasons why you're at this scale. Because when we don't have those reasons, like right now, I I can't necessarily explain why we are at the certain scales that we're at. Does that make sense? I'm sure that, you know, whenever it was initially done, I don't know when they did a whole study, but
One of the
I don't.
questions that I get all the time
Can you speak into the microphone? People can't hear you.
one of the questions that I have that, I'm thinking about is that I have, had in the past employees that would, they do a certain job, say they work in the greens area, but then they're drafted into driving truck or whatever, doing something like that, which is a higher pay scale. And their question is, why am I, if I'm working in this area and they draft me out of there and they're paying me, what they call it, greens pay versus, working in the, utilities. You see what I'm saying? There's a difference in pay, but yet they're saying, why, they can draft me anytime they need me to do this job, but they don't pay me any more for doing it, and I'm getting less pay than the person that's doing it.
So I agree, I 100% agree with you. If someone is moving to a different pay grade, they should be analyzed at a different pay grade. They
It might
should,
be
well, you
just
know.
a day or a couple of days that you need them, or emergency of some type,
Yeah.
but that's the question that I usually get from some of the employees.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with that thought. If someone is doing a different job, they should be paid within that scale. Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
Yep.
Councilman Weisenberg?
So like currently, the, positions are labeled through numbers, right? Like, I don't know where they start at, say it's an 18 or
Yeah.
17 to 18, and then it goes all the way up to 35 or higher, whatever it is, right? So, doing this salary study, is that going to be able to say exactly this range, 17 per se would get, you know, is in a range of this salary, and then would it also take into all the consideration, or put in the job description of that, you know, what they have to meet to be at that pay scale also, or that range, per se?
So yeah, it'll be somewhat similar to what it looks like, with some differences. Instead of having, you know, number 8, 12, whatever for all these, it's so, like, I couldn't even explain how they got the way they did, but the end result of this study is that you would have, so say, human resource specialists, and a human resource specialist based on 20 different criteria roughly, is going to be this salary scale. So it's based on each specific position. What's awesome about this study is it looks at all the, like, literally every criteria that you could consider for a position, it's gonna look at those. So at the very end of it, when I'm talking to employees and they're saying, I don't know if this is where I really belong, they'll be able to see very clearly, these are all the different reasons why you're at this scale. It's gonna look at all the, it'll look at other entities throughout Wyoming is part of the study. Part of the study will actually be surveying our employees to determine, of the different aspects of our position. So say, like, safety. How important is safety in people's jobs? And they're gonna have a voice in that, and it will give them a weighted average in their position. It is the most comprehensive look at positions I have seen with a salary study. So I think the end result is that I will be able to tell employees, this is very fair, and I can explain it. And right now, I can't do that.
So the numbering system would pretty much go away, right, the 17, 18, and you would just have a job title of foreman, and just say a foreman, a utilities foreman, say, and it would just be that job title, that job description, salary range is what you ultimately wanna do.
Yeah, and so another part of this is that they would send out a team here to actually meet with all of our employees and say, here's your job description, do you think this is accurate? And they're gonna go through, and so everyone is gonna be able to say, you know, get it to exactly what it should be. And so, like I'm saying, like it has this whole look at someone's position to make sure that everyone feels that it's also fair. So I think I would reemphasize, I think it's super important that we do it because I want people to know that where they're at is fair and equitable based on a ton of different criteria. Because I see those issues that crop up. You know, people will come to me and say, I don't think this is fair, and right now, what tool do I have other than saying, this is our existing salary scale? I need something more to make sure that people are feeling that they're treated fairly.
I agree with employees, wages is not always the number one thing, it's like 6 or 7, it's their treatment. And then, and knowing that their employers being fair and equal and whatnot. I used to have a bunch of employees, and I'm telling you, money's not it, it's justifying all those things, and so, just for me, I'm all for this study to be done. I think it's a way to, have happier employees. I want people to jump out of bed and run out and get in them red trucks and just be happy as heck to go to work for us, is what I'm after, and this is just another way to show them it's all being done fairly, it's not the good old boy system.
That's right.
So also with that, it says, $28,000 max, right? What budget is that gonna come out, and is that, I know I wasn't involved in that budget cycle before, but I just wanna make sure that there's the reserves in that budget for that expenditure to come out too.
It actually comes out just like we did with the overage of the sick and vacation. It would come from the unassigned reserve balances in the general fund. And, then what you see, the line numbers down below are the accounts that those would come from. So it was not part of the original budget, because that was done, about 9-10 months ago. And so this would be taking some of that money that we just put back in, bringing it back out for this particular purpose. We estimate the cost will actually be $25,000 something, but I want a little bit cushion in case it goes over. I don't have to come back and ask you for $2,500 more. So this is not to exceed the 28, so it has just a wee bit of a cushion in there, so I don't have to do that. So does that answer the question?
Is there any other questions, any other, discussion?
Thank you.
Can you open online voting?
Online voting is now closed, and the motion carries with 68.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda is to approve the Cheyenne Housing Authority local intake, agent administrative contract for the U.S. Department of HUD, Section 8, Housing Choice Vendor Program. I would entertain a motion. Councilman Martinez?
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve the local intake agent administrative contract with Cheyenne Housing Authority, hereby continuing to provide our community with this vital and essential housing program, and waive the reading of the agreement.
Second. There's been a motion made to, approve a local intake, agent administrative contract with Cheyenne Housing Authority, hereby continuing to provide our community with this vital and essential housing program, and waive reading of the agreement. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, Linda. There have been several folks who wanted to buy homes through the Cheyenne Housing Authority. And when we inquired why other places could do it and they did not do it for Rollins people, I'll support the motion, but I would like the question asked of them, how come that program cannot be brought to Rollins or made available to the Rollins area? In other words, they help people with low incomes buy homes in other places, but they don't allow it here, and I don't know why.
So when you say ask them, you're meaning the housing authority in Cheyenne?
Yes, I'd like them to explain it to us, why that is not available to us.
Amy, could you tell us why we're doing this if it's not available to us?
So, what she's identifying is the purchase of real property. What's before you is a rental assistance voucher program. Section 8 housing provides low to moderate income rental assistance.
I see.
So they make up the difference between the fair market value of the rent and what the low-income person can provide and pay for. We currently have 12 individuals within the city of Rollins that are on the program receiving voucher assistance for those rentals. And I can say in 2018, nationwide, there were 5 million people that were receiving voucher assistance in 2018. So it's definitely a need. It's definitely something that is a benefit for the city of Rollins and meets our health and safety requirements. We can attribute at least 12 of our residents are able to receive that assistance, and that would be 12 residents that are low or moderate income that would not be afforded any rental assistance for it. And moving forward, the city of Rollins governing body or the administration can absolutely reach out to any federal agency and request why a program is not being made available to the community. But in this instance, what's before you is strictly the rental voucher program and.
Right.
Okay, thank you. And then we can take that other issue up at another time and maybe grow that program also.
I would like to make a note, with the taking over some of the responsibilities within the clerk's office, Myra has really stepped up and is wearing probably 10 or 12 hats in this interim. I would like to note for the record that Mickey Otto in my office has taken over the interim processing of this information, and it's really tied to some time-sensitive deadlines. And so she's doing that. So my thanks to Mickey for continuing that until we can get a city clerk or determine where this program will come to rest.
Councilman Weisenberg?
So it talks about, in here that obviously the administration office here handles applications, now, if I'm reading it right, the Cheyenne Housing Authority, do they reimburse us an amount, but it's not the full amount of the money that it actually takes for the staff time? What is that amount that they reimburse us? Do you know?
It's based upon a percentage of open cases, so it's a flat fee. It's nominal, to be honest with you. It does not offset the cost of staff time. However, staff understands the importance of having this available to the community, and we're able to juggle just as I indicated a little bit ago, Mickey's able to juggle her current workload and take this additional component on in the interim. Just the same as when we identify who this next city clerk will be, it may go back to the city clerk, it may go to community development, we don't know, but it's such an important human resource opportunity for our residents to have that the staff believes, even though it's not 100% offset, this is one of those programs where it justifies us moving forward and continuing the program for those 12 people, and then those that are on the wait list. So as vouchers and assistance becomes available, that 12 could increase. It's just a matter of having the applicants in line and then having that funding available. Currently, we only have 12, but we do have a number on the wait list waiting for the voucher program.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Open online voting, please.
Online voting is now closed, and the motion carries with 68.
Thank you. Is Is there anything else to come before this body before we adjourn? This meeting is adjourned, and the next meeting is on February 2nd, 2021. Same place, same time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
Which will